Panic. No. Sheer terror gripped a 14-year-old boy's heart. He was late again to get to class, and this time he was certain there would be hell to pay. As he sped through the streets, he took an appreciative glance at the village that he called home. The hidden village of Konoha was one of the strongest villages of the 5 hidden villages in the world. The village itself held the prestige of being home to renowned clans such as the Uchiha and Hyuga, and was the home of the Yellow Flash, the boy's father. The boy in question was Naruto Namikaze, the Jinchurichi of the Nine-Tailed Fox. But this Naruto was different because the third Hokage made a statement concerning his heritage and his burden, and as such most people, instead of hating him, respected him and revered him as a hero. A lot of people still wanted to kill him at first, wanting to finish the work of the fourth Hokage, but when Naruto's heritage was made known, most people did not want to question the work of the fourth, especially concerning his own son. Being the son of Minato Namikaze had its perks, but also had many adverse effects. One was the obscenely large amount of fangirls that he accumulated, the loneliness of being a Jinchurichi, the enemies that he had inherited from his father. Naruto already had several attempts on his life, and as a result had a squad of ANBU that kept watch over him, and would continue to do so till he reached the rank of Chunin. Naruto arrived at the front door of the academy. He took a glance at his watch and breathed a sigh of relief. It was only 7:57, 3 minutes to spare. Being late was not something that he usually cared about. After all, what were the teachers going to do to him if he was late? Today was different, however. Today was the day of graduation. He opened the door to his classroom and slipped inside. As soon as he opened the door, the fangirls were in front of him requesting that he sit down next to them. He naturally declined and instead looked for his best friend Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke Uchiha, followed closely by Naruto, was the most popular guy in class. He and Naruto were tied for the highest scores in the class, and despite all of the competition between the two, they were best friends. "Yo, Sasuke, what's up?" he asked while sitting down next to him. "Hello, Naruto." Sasuke replied smoothly. "What have you been up to?" "OH, the usual village civilian council members trying to kiss my A-dash." But before he could finish, Irika-sensei interrupted by saying, "Good morning, class." "Good morning, Irika-sensei," the class said in unison. "Today is the day of the final examination," stated Irika as he started to go into detail about the following test. Naruto, who had already been told all of the details by a counselor that was trying to involve him in some sort of scheme, took a look over at Sasuke, who appeared to also be paying attention. Naruto thought back to how he and Sasuke became friends. Flashback starts. It was several years prior to the current date, and Naruto distinctly remembered that the village was in an uproar. Itachi Uchiha had slaughtered the whole Uchiha clan except for his own little brother, Sasuke. When Naruto walked up to the academy doors, he noticed that there was a bulletin announcing that classes had been canceled for today and for the next couple of days. Even when it freaking snows, they never cancel classes, thought Naruto. To say he was confused was an understatement. So, being a sensible child, he decided to ask the Hokage what was going on. While walking to the Hokage tower, Naruto couldn't help but notice the sorrowful looks that most of the shinobi on their faces. Not only had the village lost its most respected clan, it also lost one of the most promising ninja in the elemental nations. Naruto entered the tower and climbed the stairs till he got to the floor where the Hokage's office was. Instead of just plowing into the room, Naruto asked the secretary if the Hokage was busy, to which she replied, "Namikaze-san, the Hokage is not in. He is at a very urgent council meeting and will be busy for the foreseeable future." At the end of the last statement, Naruto frowned. "Gigi always has time for me, so this must be really important." After a brief moment of contemplation, Naruto then turned back to the secretary and asked, "What happened last night? Everyone seems so sad." The secretary looked at him incredulously and exclaimed, "You don't know what happened?" Naruto just shook his head no. The secretary's facial emotions changed from shock to sorrow. "The Uchiha clan was slaughtered last night," she said morosely. Now, it was Naruto's turn to look her incredulously, but just as soon as he was about to say something, his look changed quickly from shock to high anxiety. "What happened to Sasuke?" he said quietly. The secretary had a sorrowful smile. but said that Sasuke was okay, but was at the hospital recovering physically and mentally from the shock. Naruto had one more question before he left. Who did it? The secretary looked at him and said, Itachi. Upon hearing Sasuke's older brother's name, Naruto had a look of rage in his eyes, but that quickly changed to a sad look and muttered under his breath, Sasuke must be crushed. With a thank you to the secretary, Naruto sped out of the office and ran full tilt towards the hospital. Naruto was never very close to Sasuke, but every now and then, the two boys would spar against each other to sharpen their skills. He probably wants to rip Itachi to shreds. Upon arriving at the hospital, Naruto walked up to the reception desk and asked the lady behind the desk Uchiha Sasuke was in. The woman replied in an irritated tone, You can't see him now. Naruto was a little put off at being rejected. Being a Jinchuriki and a clan heir had made him quite used to getting what he wanted, but simply said arigato, gave a slight bow, and walked away. Now a normal person would probably try to sneak into Sasuke's hospital room or something, but Naruto decided that he would try to just reach out to Sasuke when he came back to school and help him any way that he could. Naruto arrived back at the Namikaze around 3:30 in the afternoon and decided to go outside and practice with his shuriken to kill time and get better at throwing them. Several days went by and Sasuke was not seen at the academy, but on Thursday, the massacre occurred on a Saturday. Sasuke walked into the classroom. When he entered the room, it fell deathly silent. Naruto, who had his eyes closed and was daydreaming, opened his eyes when the classroom fell silent. Sasuke ignored the reaction of the class and instead spoke to Irika-sensei in a cold, dead tone. Good morning, Irika-sensei. Irika-sensei was a little taken back by the dead tone of the 9-year-old. Gee, good morning, Sasuke. Are you okay? I'm alive, aren't I? And with that statement, he walked to the back of the classroom, sat down by himself, and started brooding. None of the fangirls dared to ask Sasuke if they could sit down with him, and most of the guys didn't even want to go and offer their sympathies for his loss. Naruto, however, saw this as a perfect opportunity to go talk to him, so he walked up to Sasuke and sat down next to him. Having never been in this situation, Naruto just sat down next to Sasuke and spoke in a low, even tone so the rest of the class couldn't hear him. I'll help you kill him. Sasuke was a little shocked at the offer, but he thought, I don't need his help. Have to do this on my own. I don't need your help. Naruto looked at Sasuke and said, If I beat you in a spar during recess, I get to help you. And if you beat me, I'll give you some of my father's jutsu scrolls when we become genin. Sasuke was only half listening to the offer until the 4th Hokage scrolls were mentioned. The offer was too good to pass up, and Sasuke was confident in his own abilities. Sure, I'll fight you. Just get ready to hand over those scrolls. And to seal the deal, the two boys shook hands. As the day progressed, the two boys grew more and more excited. Naruto thought, if I fight and beat Sasuke, I'll be able to help him and might actually gain a friend. Naruto was pampered his whole life, but one thing that he always lacked was a true friend. He'd had acquaintances before, but most of those kids hoped to gain something by being friends with him. Naruto thought that if there was anyone in the village that could understand him, it would be Sasuke. Both boys were viewed as the future of Konoha, as ultimate weapons, and had lost their family to tragedy. To Naruto, the allure of actually gaining a true friend, one that didn't want power or money, no price would be too high. Sasuke, on the other hand, was thinking, when I beat him and get those scrolls, I could become stronger basically overnight and kill Itachi with some epic jutsus that would blow his mind. When recess was called, the two boys looked at each other, nodded, walked up to Mizuki-sensei, and asked if they would be allowed to spar. Mizuki didn't really care what the boys did, as long as they didn't seriously hurt themselves. The two boys hurried out to the courtyard and asked Neji, who was 10 years old, if he would referee. Neji complied with their request and asked everyone in the courtyard if they would clear out. Sasuke and Naruto faced each other unblinking and waited for Neji to give the signal. The crowd of students that had gathered and the Chunin teachers all looked on with anticipation to see who would win the spar. The fight will stop if one of you is injured or knocked unconscious, Hajime. Both boys took off towards each other at impressive speeds for kids their age, but Naruto was slightly faster than Sasuke, and Naruto threw a wild left-handed haymaker, hoping to catch Sasuke off guard with such a wild approach. Sasuke saw the punch incoming and dodged to the right, narrowly avoiding it, and followed up with a right hook that Naruto ducked under, and he elbowed Sasuke in his ribs and jumped away. Sasuke was not hurt by the strike, but it managed to knock the air out of him. Naruto, not wasting any time, ran back toward Sasuke, hoping to finish the fight quickly. Sasuke recovered faster than he expected. However, and Naruto was not prepared for Sasuke's intercepting fist that collided with his stomach. Naruto cried out in pain from the punch, but didn't stop the motion of punching, and this time his haymaker connected with Sasuke's jaw. Sasuke flew backward a couple feet and collided with a wall and fell to the ground unconscious. Naruto, however, also keeled over unconscious and fell to the ground due to the pain of having several of his ribs broken from the punch. Several hours later, both boys woke up in the same hospital room. Naruto was the first to speak. So who won? I don't know, let's call it a draw. Okay, so how about I give you some of my dad's scrolls, and you let me train with you, so we can both get stronger? Naruto asked seriously. Why the heck did I have to fall unconscious? I had the fight in the bag and was about to finish it. Naruto thought bitterly. Sasuke looked at him and thought, well, he did manage to draw with me. I guess there's no harm in training with him and learning some of his dad's scrolls. Sure, he stated in a tired tone. Flashback ends. Over the next couple years, the two boys had become good friends and hoped that they would be able to be on the same squad. Naruto leaned over and whispered to Sasuke. Some council member walked up to me and asked me if I would like to be on your team, so I naturally said yes, so maybe we could be on the same team. Sasuke looked over at him with a raised eyebrow. Really? That's pretty awesome. Hopefully we can. And we'll be starting the exams right now. And as we call you by name, you are to come to the back room and perform the Bushin Jutsu. Iruka-sensei finished. One by one, their classmates were called, and they looked at their closest friends for encouragement. When it was her time to take the test, Hinata Hyuga looked over at Sasuke, and Naruto won last time. Sasuke gave her a real smile, something he didn't do often, and Naruto gave her a thumbs up. Both boys had become very close friends with her, and she really hoped that after the exam, granted she passed, that they would all be in the same team together. When Naruto's turn came to take the test, he gave Sasuke a quick fist bump and went to take the test. On the short walk to the back room, Naruto recalled the short conversation he had with the Hokage. Naruto, you have probably noticed that you can't perform a simple Bushin. Do you know why? Sarutobi asked. No, Gigi. I try, but no matter what, it comes out looking like a dead piece of crap. Sarutobi gave a slight chuckle at the boy's response and handed him a scroll. What's this? Naruto asked while opening it. That is a scroll containing the Kage Bushin Jutsu that will probably work better for you. Make sure you read the whole scroll and work on it tonight before bed. Sarutobi finished. Thanks, Gigi, Naruto said excitedly, and without further delay, he sped out of the Hokage's office, which caused the old man to give another slight chuckle. Naruto walked confidently into the back room and stood before Mizuki and Iruka. Kagebushin no Jutsu, he called out, and much to his sensei's astonishment. When the smoke created from the jutsu cleared, both were surprised to see the room filled with 15 Naruto, all wearing the exact same thing that he was, and giving the both of them the exact same bored look. Congratulations, Naruto. You pass, Mizuki said in an envious tone. Naruto gave a slight bow, walked up to the table containing the Hitaitesh, and selected the one that looked the best according to him. He then fastened it around his head and proceeded out of the back room, gave a slight nod to Sasuke. On the outside, Naruto looked like he honestly didn't give a crap about his graduation, but on the inside he was doing freaking backflips. I'm a ninja now, and I'll be the best damned one the world has ever seen. Naruto was excited. He was a freaking ninja. On the outside, however, it looked like nothing of importance had occurred that day. After all those years, wasted years in his opinion, he was finally a ninja. He was currently walking down the streets of Konoha on his way to the academy. It had only been 3 hours after the graduation test, and after a short recess to get lunch, the new genin were required to enter the classroom one last time to be assigned their Jonin sensei. As he entered the classroom, he spotted Sasuke sitting next to Hinata, conversing quietly with one another. Naruto naturally decided to sit next to his friends, and on the short walks to the chair next to him, he heard tidbits of the conversations of his various classmates. So, Forehead, whose team would you rather is on, Naruto's or Sasuke's? Ino asked in an interrogating sort of way, the way that little girls sometimes ask questions. Sakura, quite used to being called Forehead by Ino, responded in an offended tone. Sasuke's, of course. Naruto's got nothing on Sasuke Pig. Ino was about to respond to her reply, but Sakura was on a roll today. And don't start with the crap about Naruto having the bluest eyes you've ever seen, or how rich he is, or how none of the Uchiha has ever made Hokage. Sasuke-kun is more handsome and way cooler, she finished with a huff. Well, at least I have a chance with Naruto, Ino muttered in a low tone. What did you say, Ino Pig? I said, at least I have a chance with Naruto, the platinum blonde responded in a slightly louder tone. Why would you even try to ask out Sasuke? I'm pretty sure he's finally going to make a move on Hinata sometime soon. He'll come around, Sakura responded confidently. Right, I seem to remember when you said that, and we were 11, everyone is 14 except for Team Guy, Ino stated sarcastically. And from there the discussion progressed to a full-blown argument. Naruto continued walking toward the seat in the back of the class, and as he walked up a couple steps, he walked past a sleeping Shikamaru and a potato chip killing machine Choji. Choji's okay, I guess, but I would absolutely loathe being on the Sum team, as Shikamaru, lazy bum, Naruto, thought it disapprovingly. As he continued past them, he also noticed Kiba trying to get Shino to laugh. What do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back? Kiba asked. I don't know, Shino replied in a voice void of emotion. A stick, Kiba replied while laughing, but he quickly stopped when he noticed Shino wasn't laughing. Humph, I'll definitely get him with this one, Kiba thought confidently. Two atoms were walking down the street. Kiba started. One of them suddenly stops and says, I think I lost an electron. The other looked at him and asked if he was sure, and the first atom responded, Yes, I'm positive. Kiba finished on the verge of tears from laughing so hard. Again, however, Shino failed to laugh, or even crack a smile. Kiba's laughter quickly died down, and he thought, okay, if he doesn't laugh at this, then Shino isn't human. With a new sense of determination, Kiba started his final joke. 3 men stood before the gates of heaven, waiting to get in. The gatekeeper had been informed by Kami that only 33% of people would be allowed into heaven. So to decide which man would enter, the gatekeeper wanted to know which man died the worst death. The gatekeeper looked at the fifth man and asked how he died. The first man responded, Well, I suspected that my wife was cheating on me for some time, so I decided to come home early to catch her in the act. I arrived home and found my wife in the tub taking a bath, so I looked all around the house, but didn't find anyone. The last place I looked was on the balcony, and lo and behold, I found a fag trying to climb back in. So I ran up to him and started stomping on his fingers so he would fall off. He yelled and he screamed, but he didn't fall off, so I then ran, grabbed a hammer, and proceeded to pound his fingers until he fell off. As soon as he fell, I thought the deed was done, so I looked over the edge only to find that he had managed to land in a bunch of bushes. I then grabbed a fridge, it was unusually heavy, and pushed it off the balcony where it then fell and crushed the fag beneath. I was so consumed with grief over what I had just done, so I went into my bedroom and committed seppuku. The gatekeeper nodded his head in understanding. Kiba continued. The gatekeeper then looked at the second man who seemed to have his fingers thoroughly destroyed. What about you? The gatekeeper asked. Well, I lived on the 28th floor of an apartment and was doing some exercises on my balcony. Then I lost my balance and I slipped. Luckily, I only fell a couple floors before I managed to grab another balcony. I tried to pull myself up, but some madman ran up to me and started stomping on my fingers. I didn't fall, however, but when he brought out the hammer, I quickly fell. I landed in some bushes, though. At first, I couldn't believe my luck, but then I looked up from where I fell and saw an elfin fridge falling towards me. And that's how I ended up here, the second man finished. The gatekeeper nodded again and looked at the final man, who seemed to have many broken bones. What's your story? The final man started. Imagine you're hiding, naked, in fridge. Kiba finished with a hearty laugh. The final joke did manage to get Shino crack a very small smirk that Kiba didn't see. Kiba just looked at him with an anime sweat and walked away. That last one was actually funny, but he didn't notice Shino's smirk? I would hate to be on Kiba's team. He seems really annoying, Naruto thought. Naruto finally arrived next to Sasuke, who was sitting next to Hinata, but before he could get to converse with them, Irika-sensei walked into the room and addressed the whole room. Congratulations those of you that passed the graduation exam. Naruto wasn't really paying attention, but was instead daydreaming about who would be on his team and a conversation that he had with a civilian council member 2 days ago. Flashback starts. Naruto was walking back to the Namake's mansion and was currently passing through the market of the village. Why the heck did I decide to pass through the market when everyone was on their way back to work? Idiot, Naruto thought. Everyone gave him a wide berth to walk through, but that didn't really help all that much. At least I'm not being jostled around by the crowd. He was steadily making progress towards the exit when he saw someone trying to beckon him. Might as well go. I'm not really in much of a hurry. He walked up to a rather short man who had on the most expensive robes that could be bought in all of the Land of Fire. Realizing that only royalty or someone extremely rich could afford the robes, Naruto also realized that he must be a council member by the way that he addressed him. Good evening, Namikaze-sama. Yep, definitely a council member. Good evening, Councilman-san. The council slightly bristled at not being given the same amount of respect that he gave a 14-year-old boy, but he quickly put back on his friendly facade. Tonight, the village council will be deciding on teams, and I want Uchiha Sasuke on my team. Naruto cut across. He'll probably come looking for favors when I become a chunin and part of the council. Naruto deduced. The councilman looked at him and gave a slight laugh. I thought you might say that. I'll suggest it at the meeting. Good day, Namikaze-sama. And with that final note, he gave a slight bow and melted back into the crowd. Naruto truly hated the way that he was treated in the village. Everyone saw him as the Yandame's son, not as Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. It has its perks, he thought to himself. Flashback end. Naruto wasn't paying attention till the teams were starting to be assigned. Team 7 will be Sakura Haruno, who looked up in anticipation, Riku Yudo, and Manami Kana. Irika directly addressed Sakura and said, "You are the replacement for a member of the team that was recently killed on a mission. They are waiting for you in room 349. Hi," she said, extremely disappointed that she wasn't on Sasuke's team, and walked down the hall towards her new team. I hope Ino Pig doesn't end up on Sasuke-kun's team, she thought bitterly. Team 8 will be Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame. Kiba gave an anime sweat at being put with Shino and Hinata Hyuga. Your Jonin instructor will be Kurenai Yuhi, and she is waiting for you in room 350. The three of them answered simultaneously. Hinata was slightly disappointed that she wasn't put on Naruto or Sasuke's team, but she understood that the teams were designed to work optimally, and she doubted that Kiba would get along with the boys. Team 9 is still active from last year. Irika continued. Team 10 will be Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akimichi, and Shikara Nara. Choji nudged the sleeping Nara and told her they were on the same team, while Ino protested being put on the same team as the lazy bum and fat Choji. Sasuke was now really curious as to who would be on his team now. He was a little miffed at first since he couldn't be on the same team as Hinata, but quickly realized that Team 8 would be an excellent tracking team. Naruto will probably be on my team, but what about the third member? Naruto was likewise thinking along the same lines, except he wasn't as miffed about not being on Hinata's team. Looking around, Naruto realized that everyone else except he and Sasuke had been assigned a team and had left. Seeing as they were the only two people in the room, besides him, Irika called the two boys up to his desk to assign them their team. The two boys walked up to his desk, and Irika addressed them. Your team will be Team 11. Both of you will be on the same team, and your third member is an orphan boy by the name of Sai. Irika-sensei finished. And as if on K, just as soon as Irika finished, a very pale-looking boy entered the room and gave the boys a weird fake smile while addressing them. Hello, Uchiha-san and Namikaze-san. The Sasuke just looked at him, quickly ignored him, and asked Irika-sensei which room they were to meet their Jonin leader in. Room 371. Good luck, Irika finished as he led them towards the door. The three boys exited the classroom, and even it looked like Sasuke and Naruto were ignoring the pale boy. They were each shooting him appraising glances. I wonder what sort of jutsus he knows. I wonder how good he is with that ninjutsu. What the heck is up with that dang smile? Irika watched them leave and walk down the hallway classroom. They're not even talking to their new teammate. This could cause trouble. The boys arrived at the room and quickly went inside. They waited, and they waited, and they waited some more. By the time the second hour had gone by, Sai had started drawing, and Sasuke and Naruto were playing Unit 13 on their PlayStation Vitas. After another hour went by, Naruto and Sasuke were still ignoring Sai when a tall, white-haired man walked in. Naruto immediately recognized him and asked, "You're going to be our Jonin teacher?" When Kakashi Hatake nodded, Naruto exclaimed, "Sweet. Meet up on the roof in 10 minutes, Kakashi said as he shoe-shined away. "How do you know him?" Sasuke asked Naruto as they climbed the stairs to the roof. "He was on my dad's Genin team back in the Third Ninja War." "Really? Is he any good?" "Hikja," Naruto responded. He graduated from the academy when he was like 6 and has been an Umbu captain for the past couple years. "Wow, this is going to be awesome," Sasuke said excitedly. "This guy must be pretty powerful. He'll probably have loads of stuff to teach me and Naruto." When they arrived at the roof, the three boys took a seat on the steps facing the scarecrow, who was leaning up on the railings. "All right, what's your likes and dislikes?" Kakashi asked in a bored tone while he was reading his orange book. "Hatake-san, do you mind doing it first so we could see how it's done?" asked Sai in a polite voice. All three boys looked at Kakashi in anticipation. "Fine. My name is Kakashi Hatake. I don't really have a lot of likes. I have a lot of dislikes, and my dream is none of your business." We only learned his name. All three boys thought at the same time. "How about you, Mr. Fake Smile?" Kakashi said while gesturing toward Sai, while never looking up from his book. "My name is Sai. I enjoy painting. I don't have a dream or many dislikes." Wow, he's way too apathetic to be a normal teenage boy. I'll have to find out who this kid is, thought Kakashi. "Okay, your turn, Namikaze-sama," Kakashi said in a sarcastic tone. He hadn't even looked up from his book. Naruto slightly scoffed at Kakashi's sarcasm, but continued nonetheless. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. I like the Konoha, the old man. I guess I like Sasuke and Mai." "I didn't know you cared," Sasuke remarked. "Shut up, you, Spaz. My dislikes are fangirls and people who would threaten my home. My dream is to become Hokage just like my dad." Naruto finished. Kakashi wasn't really paying attention until Naruto said he wanted to be Hokage. He looked up from his book and noticed the determined look in boy's eyes. It's only natural that he would want to be Hokage, Kakashi thought. "Your turn," Kakashi said while pointing at Sasuke as he returned to reading his book. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't have many likes except for Naruto and Hinata. I have many dislikes that include fangirls and scheming counselors. My dream is restore my clan, both in its members and in its honor, and to kill my older brother." "Well, good to get to know you guys. We'll be having another test tomorrow. So meet at the training field at 7 a.m. and with that final note, Kakashi's shoe shined away. "Goodbye, Naruto-san, Sasuke-san," Sai said as he walked away. Both boys ignored him, however, and just jumped off of the roof of the building. When they landed on the ground in the middle of the street, Sasuke looked at Naruto and said, "I'm going to head home and work on some jutsus, then go to sleep." "All right, see you tomorrow. Oh, and I wouldn't come to the field before 9 o'clock. I asked the old man if he was chronically late, and he said yes." Sasuke gave him a nod and walked down a dark street on the way to the Uchiha compound. "I should get some ramen to celebrate my graduation." With his mind made up, Naruto sped through the streets towards Ikaracha Ramen. Arriving at the stand, Naruto quickly entered and took his seat. "I'll have 4 vegetable ramens," the boy said excitedly. He was starved. "Hey Naruto, did you pass the graduation?" asked Tochi while preparing his ramen. "Hell, yeah I did," and he showed the chief his new shiny headband as proof. "Oh hi Naruto," Ayam said as she entered the ramen stand, just returning for doing a few errands. "Hi Ayam," Naruto started, I passed my exam, look. Sweet, she said while looking at his new headband. When she was younger, she had wanted to be a ninja, but her father had asked her not to be one after her mother died. Instead of returning to work in the kitchen, Ayam just sat down next to Naruto and started conversing with him. So who's on your team? She asked, starting the conversation. It's me, Sasuke, and this other weird kid who has the fakest smile you've ever seen. Ayam laughed at Naruto's description of his other teammate, but continued on, what's his name? His name was Sai. I think I wasn't really paying attention, Naruto said sheepishly. Boys, muttered Ayam while she rolled her eyes. How could you not pay attention to your new teammate? Hey, I was still pissed that Hinata couldn't be on me and Sasuke's team. And trust me, after you see this guy, you'll think he's the weirdest guy you've ever seen. Naruto finished in a defensive tone. That's no excuse. You guys will probably end up saving each other's lives. Yeah, so? That doesn't mean we have to be friends. It would help, Ayam responded. I don't think it would. I'll be nice to him, but that's about it. Naruto finished as his ramen was placed in front of him. Thanks, old man. And on that final note, Naruto dove into his ramen. Boys, they're so unreasonable, thought Ayam. Truth be told, Ayam had developed a little crush on the 14-year-old. It all started back when he first entered the ramen stand 5 years ago. Flashback starts. It was a particularly slow day at the ramen stand. The same customers, the same orders. It was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and Ayam, then 10 years old, wished she could go outside to play with the other kids. A couple minutes later, dressed in a black leather coat, black jonin pants, and a shock of blonde hair walked in. She knew who he was. Everyone in the village did. Naruto Namikaze had been milling about the village with nothing to do and no one to play with. He had a dejected look about him, and he seemed to be bored out of his mind. He quietly took his seat, and immediately several of the people in the stand quickly paid for their meals and left. Ayam didn't know what his burden was, but she was really curious as to why the other people left. They hadn't even finished their ramen yet. Hello, and welcome to Ichiko, the young girl started. What can I get for you? I'll have 3 miso ramens, please. 3. You must really be hungry. Coming right up, she said while she ran to the back to get his order. When she brought out his meal, he thanked her in a small, quiet voice, and much to her astonishment, quickly polished off his meal. He paid for the meal and left a generous tip. That was really good stuff, but before he could leave, the girl grabbed his arm and asked him words that he wanted to her for a long time. Want to go to the park and play? I get off work pretty soon, and you seem pretty lonely. Sure, he said in a non-caring tone. On the outside, it seemed like nothing happened, but on the inside, he was jumping for joy. She wants to play with me. Someone actually wants to play with me. Tucci had watched the whole scene play out, and he couldn't have been more proud of his little girl. Flashback ends. After that day, the two had been instant friends. At first, Naruto was kind of shy because he never had a friend before, but slowly and surely, Ayam managed to see a side of him that very few people got to see. On the outside, he tried to remain stoic and calm, but on the inside, he was a very lonely kid that desperately wanted attention. Most kids his age avoided him, and the ones that didn't only wanted to gain from being his friend, but Ayam was different, and aside from Sasuke and Hinata, she was his only friend. After conversing for about an hour and polishing off 10 bowls of ramen later, Naruto left the ramen stand and headed towards home to get some rest for the test the next day. I'll be ready. Me and Sasuke will pass this test with flying colors. 8:00 a.m. That was when Naruto woke up. Sure, his sensei said 7 o'clock, but more than likely, he wouldn't be there till at least 10 o'clock, so he had some time to kill. He climbed out of bed and remembered that Kakashi sensei said not to eat any breakfast, so he just went and to take a shower to get ready for the day. After his shower, Naruto entered the master bedroom in the Namikaze manner. The room was huge. It had a king-size bed, a 75-inch TV, and a huge window that overlooked the village. The walls were painted in a light cream color, and on 2 walls there were shelves filled with books. Naruto had only read a couple of the books, but with his shadow clones, he would be able to read all of them in no time. He walked over to his walk-in closet and opened up the doors. He took 7 steps in and found that caught his fancy. It was a black leather jacket with orange patches on C-tane parts of the coat. Basically his Shippuden outfit with the colors reversed. Naruto selected eight matching paints and appraised himself in the mirror. Dang, I look good. He selected a kunai pouch and exited his bedroom. When he arrived in his kitchen, he decided to grab some 3 kimchi ration bars. Sasuke and Sai probably haven't eaten breakfast, and it doesn't hurt to be prepared. It was 9 o'clock by the time he made it to Training Ground 7, and he was not surprised to see Sai sitting down drawing. Remembering what I am told him last night, Naruto decided to try to be nice to the pale-faced boy. Yo, Naruto said in a greeting. Hello, Naruto-san. What ya drawing? Nothing really, Sai said as he went on painting. Naruto waited for Sai to say something else, but the boy continued to just ignore him and kept on drawing. After a couple minutes of neither of them talking, Naruto decided to try and find out about the kid and the jutsu he knew. So where are you from? Sai looked up at him with his fake smile and said, I'm from Konoha. Naruto scoffed at Sai's blunt reply, but continued on nonetheless. What sort of jutsus do you know? I can paint animals and cause them to be animated for a short time. And to prove his point, Sai painted a small cat that ran up to Naruto and started to purr when he pet it. Dang, that's cool. What sort of animals can you draw? All sorts. The more ferocious the animal in real life, the more dangerous it is when drawn. My most powerful animal is the lion, but the one I find most useful is the hawk. I can actually draw the hawk and ride on it for about 10 minutes. My chakra reserves aren't that high yet, so that is how long I can keep it together. I also know basic medical jutsu. That's some cool jutsu. He'll probably be a long-range fighter, thought Naruto. Just after Sai finished speaking, Sasuke walked up and greeted the two boys. It was no 9:30. Yo, Sasuke, Naruto started. You want to play some more Unit 13? Of course, Sasuke replied. Both boys pulled out a scroll and channeled a little bit of chakra into them, and in a puff of smoke, sitting on top of the scrolls were their playstand Vitas. 45 minutes later, Kakashi entered the training ground. Instead of yelling at him and saying he was late, Sasuke just looked at him and asked, if you know you're going to be 3 hours late, why don't you schedule the meetings 3 hours later? I never thought of that, Kakashi mused. That's a good idea. That way everyone can do what they want instead of wait here forever, Naruto said. Okay, that's what we'll do from now on, Kakashi started. Now the final exam that you have to do is get these 2 bells. He held up the 2 bells while still reading his book. From me, the person that doesn't get the bell will be sent back to the academy and won't be allowed to eat lunch. All 3 of the boys were taken back by Kakashi's statement. Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other, and both knew what the other was thinking. The council would never let us go back to the academy. Naruto looked at Sai and thought he could actually be very helpful to me and Sasuke, so if we get the bells, we should give one to him. Remember, if you don't come at me with the intention to kill, you will not get the bells. You have 1 hour, Kakashi concluded. Hajime. The 3 boys looked at each other and jumped into the trees to formulate a plan. When they were in the trees, Naruto spoke to Sai and Sasuke in a low voice. Did you guys eat breakfast? When they shook their head, no, Naruto tossed them something that looked like a candy bar. What's this? Sasuke hissed out in a low voice. It's an kimchi ration bar. It's the equivalent of eating a full meal, and it gives you a chakra boost. Sasuke and Sai looked at Naruto, quickly thanked him, and devoured the bar while Naruto ate his. Naruto looked at them, and they started to formulate a plan. Back in the clearing, Kakashi was reading his book while covertly looking for the boys and taking in the scenery around him. He was currently in a rather large clearing with a small pond about 50 feet behind him, and 100 feet in front of him there was a small forest that formed a sort of horseshoe shape around Kakashi. I've already given them the advantage of good cover. Let's see what they cook up, Kakashi thought. Nothing happened for the first 5 minutes. Kakashi was actually surprised. Most genin teams would have rushed right in and have their butts handed to them. These kids actually think. Then he heard it. The unique whistle that only kunai make. He dodged to the right of it, but he also heard the telltale sizzle that an explosive note makes. Kakashi barely had time to substitute himself with a log before the note went off. Looks like they're coming at me with the intent to kill. He was still in the clearing and not in a very good strategic position. He was vulnerable to attacks at his sides, and he wasn't sure if any of them knew water jutsu. Just then, the three boys burst from the trees, flinging shuriken with deadly precision as they fell towards the ground. Kakashi was forced to dodge and even block several kunai, but he didn't get every single one. One managed to nick his beloved book. Before he could lament the damage to his book, Sasuke, several of Naruto's clones, and few of Sai's ink beast were upon him. Kakashi still had his book open as he dodged the punches, kicks, and even bites that were sent his way. Seeing as he wasn't getting anywhere, Sasuke jumped back to where Naruto and Sai were, nodded to Naruto, and jumped further back into the trees. Just as soon as Kakashi dispelled the last clone, Naruto sent 50 more his way. This kid's chakra is limitless, Kakashi thought while he was dispelling Naruto's clones. When the last clone was dispelled, Sai nodded at Naruto and started drawing a falcon. To keep Kakashi preoccupied, Naruto sent some more clones his way. After Sai finished with his falcon, Naruto tossed some of his explosive kunai as Sai flew into the air. After Sai took off, Naruto jumped at Kakashi with a kunai. Naruto lunged at Kakashi in a stabbing movement, but Kakashi sidestepped him, knocking the blonde off balance and tumbling towards the ground. Kakashi had already turned his attention to the pale-faced boy on the falcon, while Naruto was still falling to the ground, but he wasn't expecting Naruto to shift his body and fling a kunai at his sensei's back. Kakashi barely managed to dodge the kunai thrown at his back, and while he was in the motion of dodging the kunai, Sai threw 2 explosive kunai at Kakashi. The Scarecrow still had his Aika book open, and he jumped back from a kunai that impacted the ground in front of him. He didn't even take time to check and make sure there were no explosives on the kunai. He was about to shift his attention to Naruto, but years of combat training kicked in, and on a reflex, he jumped back from the kunai just as they exploded. Crap, that was too close. I need to take these boys seriously. In all honesty, as soon as Kakashi saw the 3 teens working together, he was ready to pass them, but he was curious to know just how skilled each boy was, so he decided to see what they could do. Sai sent Ink Beast at Kakashi to cover Naruto as he jumped back into the trees. Kakashi still had his book out, but it had been slightly charred from the explosive notes. He had not been an ANBU captain for nothing, though, and he defeated the Ink Beast with ease. Meanwhile, in the trees, Naruto had joined up with Sasuke. Both boys looked at each other and started gathering chakra. Back in the clearing, Sai was harassing Kakashi by throwing Skiriken, explosive kunai, and spawning Ink Beast. Kakashi was growing rather tired from having to use a lot of his chakra to continually substitute himself, and throwing juices to try and bring down Sai without seriously hurting him. The boys' plan couldn't have gone better. Unknown to them, Kakashi was a close-range fighter, and having to fight Sai put him at a large disadvantage. This boy is making me use a lot of chakra. I need to finish this quickly, thought Kakashi. Back in the trees, Naruto and Sasuke had amassed a large amount of chakra, and they watched and waited till Kakashi defeated Sai. After 5 minutes, Sai was starting to run low on chakra. It wasn't that he had tiny reserves, it was just that the Ink Beast sapped him of chakra rather quickly. Sai dispelled his bird and fell towards the ground. He landed on his feet, however, and drew a few final Ink Beast before rushing at Kakashi with his ninjutsu. Kakashi was surprised by the boy's actions, but he recovered quickly and drew a kunai to counter his sword. Sai's Ink Beast arrived at Kakashi first, but they were quickly dispelled. When Sai arrived at Kakashi, he started out his attack by going for the Scarecrow's feet. Kakashi jumped over his attack and in retaliation brought a downward strike at the boy's head. Sai blocked Kakashi's attack and pushed Kakashi back with surprising force. I should probably fight harder, but they can't beat me, Kakashi thought smugly. Sai was relentless in his attack, and he was back on Kakashi in an instant. He started with a strong slash from the right side of Kakashi's chest to the left side. Kakashi parried his attack and sent several strikes with his kunai that Sai evaded, blocked, and countered. What he doesn't have in chakra, he makes up for it in endurance and effort, Kakashi deduced. Sai jumped back from a combo that Kakashi parried, and he threw his remaining explosive no to Kakashi at point-blank range. Kakashi wasn't expecting this gutsy move, but he dodged the kunai, and it exploded harmlessly 50 yards behind him. When the Cyclops looked back to where Sai had stood, he discovered the boy had already jumped back into the trees. Guerrilla warfare? No, that takes too much time. What are they planning? After Sai had jumped back into the trees, Sasuke and Naruto jumped out of the trees and into the clearing. The small pond was behind Kakashi. Both boys started to simultaneously do hand signs. Kakashi's battle instincts kicked in, but he ignored them. Sasuke finished first and yelled, "Katan! Fire stream jutsu!" A stream of fire about a foot wide burst from Sasuke's mouth and headed towards Kakashi. "That's it. I thought he would try something a little more powerful," mused Kakashi. But before the jutsu could reach him, Naruto finished his hand signs and called out, "Futon! Wind stream jutsu!" The fire jutsu and the wind jutsus were not particularly powerful by themselves, but when the wind jutsu was added to the fire jutsu, the power has increased tenfold. The inferno created from the collaboration jutsu was so intense that it could clearly be seen from the Hokage's office. Seeing the raw power of the jutsu before him, Kakashi quickly sped through some hand signs for a water jutsu and yelled out Suiton, water wall jutsu. Kakashi used the small pond in the clearing to supply his water jutsu, and his wall of water met the boy's pillar of fire head-on. When the two jutsus clashed, it created a lot of steam. The two boys poured more and more chakra into jutsu, and in retaliation, Kakashi had to pour in some more chakra into his jutsu to hold it back. "Crap, I'm running out of water and chakra," thought Kakashi. The two boys continued to pour chakra into the jutsu, but Sasuke was running low on chakra. They kept up the jutsu for as long as possible, but Sasuke had to stop before he ran out of chakra. Sasuke did have a rather large chakra reserve for his age, but his control was not the best, so when he started his jutsu, he wasted about a third of his chakra supply. Naruto had the same problem, but his tenant helped him out in that department. Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief when the boys finished their jutsu, but his relief was short-lived when Naruto yelled out, "Futon," repeating wind bullet jutsu. Several strong blasts of air erupted from Naruto's mouth and flew towards Kakashi at alarming speed. Their sensei dodged all of the blasts without really giving it much effort, except the last one. The last air blast collided with Kakashi's right foot, and the effect was instantaneous. The Scarecrow felt the majority of the bones in his foot get shattered, and he was blown back from the blast. As soon as Kakashi landed on his butt, Sasuke threw several shuriken at the Scarecrow. Kakashi was hard-pressed to dodge all the kunai, but he managed. When he looked up, he noticed that all three of the boys were in the clearing about 75 yards from him. Naruto had only one explosive note left. Sai had recovered a little bit of his chakra back, and Sasuke was almost completely drained of chakra, but he remained standing upright. Naruto tossed Sasuke his last explosive kunai, and Sasuke took out one shuriken and tossed it at Kakashi. Why would he only toss one shuriken? He can't know the shadow shuriken jutsu. Kakashi thought with trepidation. He doubted that if it was the shadow shuriken jutsu, he would be able to dodge all of them. I could have ended this fight earlier, but no, I had to get cocky and underestimate the heirs of the Uchiha and Namake's clans, and some kid I've never even seen around the village. Kakashi thought while being disgusted with himself. Ninja get killed every freaking day because they underestimate their opponent, and I fell right into that trap. Unfortunately for Kakashi, Sasuke didn't know the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu, but Kakashi did his best to dodge all of them. But he failed. Two of the shuriken punctured his chest, and one punctured his left thigh. "Oh crap, this hurts," thought Kakashi while grimacing in pain. Kakashi was about to call the spar before he got seriously hurt, but he saw Sasuke throw his final explosive kunai. The kunai impacted with a tree 5 feet behind where Kakashi sat, but it didn't explode. At first, Kakashi couldn't believe his luck, but when he looked back at the three boys, Naruto spoke. "Give us the bells and let all of us pass. If you don't, Sasuke will detonate the kunai, and at that range you'll be lucky to survive." Before Kakashi could respond to their demands, he honestly didn't think that they would kill him. Sasuke spoke up. "Me and Naruto don't have any time to waste by going back to the academy, and Sai has proven himself a good teammate, so hurry up before I detonate it." "Okowo," Kakashi said in a tired voice, and he tossed them the bells, and Sai caught them. "Help me get to the hospital. I've lost a lot of blood, and my right foot is shattered. And true to their sensei's word, his Jonin flak jacket was soaked in blood, and the way he wouldn't put any weight on his right foot meant and probably was broken. Naruto and Sasuke went to help take Kakashi to the hospital, and Sai was about to help them, but Kakashi told him to go report to the Hokage and tell him what happened. I'll never hear the end of this, Kakashi thought in a depressed tone. When Sasuke and Naruto had hoisted up Kakashi and they were well on their way to the hospital, Kakashi asked a question he had been meaning to ask for a couple minutes. Would you have really detonated the kunai? Sasuke just looked at him and said in a nonchalant voice, if you didn't give us the bells. Kakashi visibly paled and thanked Kami that this wasn't a real fight or he would probably be dead. When Sai arrived at the Hokage tower, he quickly climbed the stairs and asked the receptionist if the Hokage was busy and if he could see him. The receptionist said yes, but added, yes, Sir Tobi-sama is in, but some foreign dignitaries have an appointment in 15 minutes, so make your visit quick. Sai walked up to the door and knocked. Come in. He entered the room and bowed to the Hokage. Ah, hello, Sai. How is your new team? I trust Kakashi wasn't hard on you in the bell test. Actually, Hokage-sama, Sai started in his polite voice and fake smile. Team 11 managed to beat Kakashi and take the bells away from him, and he was admitted to the hospital 10 minutes ago. Hiruzen's pipe almost fell from his mouth at the revelation, but in a blink of an eye he regained his composure and asked, how badly hurt is he? Hiruzen was now going to dread having to tell the council about this development for one of two reasons. One was that they would probably demand that Naruto and Sasuke be given a new sensei, or they would start to grow weary of Naruto. Sai answered the previously asked question. Kakashi sensei has a broken right foot and several punctures from kunai and shuriken. The lacerations from the shuriken aren't that bad, but a broken foot, that's a really bad injury for a ninja to have, Sarutobi pondered. Thank you for the report, Sai. Now if you'll excuse me, some very important people will be here shortly. Hi. Thank you for seeing me, Hokage-sama, Sai said with a bow, and he exited the building. After Naruto had checked Kakashi into the hospital, he left and proceeded to head towards Ichiraku for a late lunch. It was 2:30 when he arrived at the beloved ramen stand, and when he entered the stand, he was surprised to see Sakura and her team in there. He sat down a few seats from where Team 7 sat, hoped they didn't notice him, and waited for Ayam to take his order. Hello, Naruto. Naruto looked over to his right and nearly rolled his eyes when he realized that it was Sakura talking to him. I just wanted to eat some ramen. Why does she have to be here? Naruto honestly didn't have a problem with Sakura, but the fact she was one of the biggest fangirls in his class really annoyed him. That in the fact she took more time to make sure she looked presentable than preparing to be a decent shinobi. Hello, Sakura, Naruto said as he took out his beloved PlayStation Vita. Sakura, you know Namikaze-san? One of her teammates asked. Yeah, Riku, he was in my homeroom class. Wow, the girl named Riku exclaimed in a low voice. Naruto looked up from his game and looked at Sakura's teammates. The one named Riki Yudo had black hair and a heart-shaped face, and she wore tight black from fitting shinobi pants and a long-sleeve violet shirt that was low-cut and exposed a lot of skin, and a ninjutsu strapped to her back, and her hitai tied at the base of her neck, purposely drawing attention to her assets. She's pretty hot, but probably a fangirl. Rika looked at Naruto, but she blushed and looked away when she noticed Naruto looking at her. Defiantly a fangirl. The two girls started talking about Naruto like he wasn't even there, but their third teammate switched seats and sat down next to Naruto. Hello, Naruto. My name is Manami Kana, the boy said as he extended his hand for a handshake. Naruto shook his hand, and he noticed the boy's firm grip. He looked at the boy and noticed his features. Manami was a tall kid for his age. He had messy brown hair and a narrow face. He also had a small scar from the right side of his nose down to his chin. He wore standard shinobi attire and had his hitai tied around his forehead. Naruto put down his PlayStation Vita and started a conversation with the boy. So where are you from? Born and raised in Konoha, Manami said with pride, clearly evident in his voice. Naruto nodded at his statement and was about to say something to Manami, but the boy cut him off. I'm an orphan like you. My mother died defending the village the night the Kyuubi attacked, Kana said, the pride still evident on his voice. The tone of his voice changed, though, when he started talking again. My father was on a mission at the time, and when he came back to the Vialge and found the destruction and was told of the death of my mother, he was so consumed with grief that he actually tried to kill you. To say Naruto loathed situations like this was a huge understatement. How are you supposed to respond to someone when they tell you are indirectly responsible for the deaths of a loved one? Oh, was all he could lamely reply. Naruto was always a freaking ice cube. He rarely let his emotions show, let alone get the better of him. He always had to come back to every statement. Except for when the Kyuubi was involved. Don't worry about it, though. I don't blame you for their deaths. I actually would like to thank you for keeping the Kyuubi at bay for the past 14 years, Manami stated as he started to get up from his seat. Whenever you're free, come by Training Ground 32 so we can spar. The boy then nudged his teammates, and the girls looked at Naruto and said goodbye. Naruto also noted that Rika batted her eyelashes furiously at him when she said her goodbye. Fangirls. Naruto was about to go back to playing his video game when the voice of Iam was heard from behind the counter. What did I tell you about playing that thing in here? I'm sorry, last time I checked it was a free village, Naruto responded smartly while not even looking up from his game. This only served to annoy Iam further, but she knew how to win this argument. They had it at least once a week. It's not a free restaurant, though, and if you don't put away, no more ramen, she finished in a firm voice. Naruto was a smart boy. He knew when to cut his losses, and when he was beaten. This was a time when he was beaten. He put away his Vita and looked at Iam with a scowl. You happy, no? Yes, what do you want to eat? Iam replied in a mock smug voice. I'll have 2 vegetable and 3 pork ramens to start off, Naruto grumbled. Coming right up. Naruto started to think about his relationship to Iam. She's sort of like my older sister, best friend, and girlfriend, all in one. Man, that's a weird relationship. When the ramen chef brought out his ramen, she sat down next to him and started to converse with Naruto. What have you been up to today? Naruto currently had his mouth full of ramen, so he had to chew and swallow before he could answer the question. I beat the crap out of my sensei. You what? Jeez, stop yelling. We had a full contact test, and our sensei underestimated us. He was lucky it wasn't a real fight, or he would have been killed, Naruto said in a non-caring tone. How badly did you hurt him? We bruised several of his ribs, shattered his right foot, and he lost a couple pints of blood from puncture wounds to his chest and legs. Wow, you didn't have to go so hard on him, Iam said in a disapproving tone. He would have beaten the crap out of us, not let us have lunch, and he would have sent us back to the academy. As soon as Naruto mentioned lunch and the academy, she immediately understood the beatdown that the boys gave their sensei. Never get in the way of a hungry teenage boy, and never threaten them with doing more school, Iam mused. The two continued their conversation for about an hour, and in that time Naruto consumed over 15 bowls of ramen. It was 4 o'clock when Naruto finally left the ramen stand. He was walking down the street towards the Namikaze mansion. He remembered a conversation he had with the Hokage 1 month before his graduation. Flashback. Naruto was on his way towards the Hokage tower. He had been summoned to see the Hokage while he was eating lunch in his home. When he arrived at the office, he walked right into the office without knocking. He noticed that the old man was trying to hide an orange book, and he had a noticeable blush on his face. Hello, Naruto, Sarutobi said while gaining his composure. Isarutobi-sama. Naruto had stopped calling the man Gigi a couple years ago, much to Sarutobi's disappointment. Naruto, you're no doubt aware of the jutsu that made your father famous? Yes, of course. Well, your father, Sensei, was studying your father's scroll of the Hiraishin, and he found out that your father made a special seal and placed it on himself. What sort of seal? Naruto asked, his interest now piqued. Well, your father was a seal master. The seal was so complex that not even your father's sensei had it all figured out. Basically, the seal enabled the Hiraishin to be a hereditary jutsu that all his descendants could use. Naruto visibly paled at this revelation. He had read up on several of the laws in Konoha, especially the clan laws. There was no question that the council would force him to go through the CRA. Over my dead body, I'm not sleeping with a bunch of power-hungry bimbos just because the council orders me to. Naruto kept his face void of emotion and asked a question that he already knew the answer to. What now? No doubt the council will try to put you through the CRA, and if you don't have 3 wives by the time you turn 18, the council will choose wives for you, the old man concluded morosely. Naruto's poker face didn't fail, but he had one more question to ask. When will I be able to do the Hiroshin? The scroll said when you experience true happiness, you will unlock the ability to do the jutsu. Okay, and with that final note, Naruto left the Hokage's office and the tower to ponder these new developments. FLH back end. He arrived back at his house and had only one thing on his mind: I need to become a chunin. Meanwhile, in a well-hidden base under Konoha, a heavily bandaged man who used a cane to get around was receiving a report from one of his ninja. Danzo-sama, with my help, and the help of the Uchiha, Namake's Naruto was able to defeat Kakashi Hitaki in a spar, Sai said with his mock smile still up. The older man's unbandaged eye visibly widened. What would you rank his abilities at? I'm very confident that he and Uchiha Sasuke could pass the Chunin exams with ease. They are low Chunin at least. Good work, Sai. I want regular reports on Namake's progress and the progress of the Uchiha. Hi, Sai said, as he rose from being on one knee in front of Danzo, and he gave him a bow and walked away. I'll have to find out how close the Uchiha is to the Namakes, and Naruto will start training with the QB soon. Danzo thought he had a council meeting to go to before retiring for the day. At the Hokage tower, Hiruzen was about to enter the council room. He could already hear the arguments from the other side of the door. We need to seal this sound off from these doors. Well, here goes nothing. And the Hokage entered the council room. When Sarutobi entered the room, the civilian council immediately quieted down, and all of the clan heads nodded in acknowledgement. Good evening. Let's get down to business, Sarutobi said as he took his seat that faced everyone in the council. He took a look at all of the members of the council. The clan heads were Hayashi Hyuga, Tsum Inuzuka, Inoichi Yamanaka, Choja Kimichi, and Shikaka Nara. Next to the Nara clan head, there were 2 empty seats, one for the Uchiha and the other for the Namakes. Sarutobi then shifted his glance over to the civilian side of the council. Sayuka Haruno, Sakura's mother, Misaki Miyu, Naoto Tsubasa, Takahiro Takumi, and Rinsuda. The civilian council were a constant headache for the old man, as their sometimes ludicrous ideas were a constant bother. The people he had to watch out for, though, were Takahiro Takumi and Misaki Miyu. Both members were suspected of rigging elections and having ties to the Yakuza. Takahiro was an impressive man for a civiline. He came from a family of wealth, and he owned several of the grocery and clothing stores in Konoha. Misaki Miyu was a middle-aged woman who had a sharp political mind, and she had various connections to people in the Fire Country capital. It was rumored that she had several of her political rivals killed by the Yakuza, but no evidence was ever found. Sarutobi was sure of one thing, though. The civilian council was corrupt. The same people kept getting elected despite the poor job that they did, and their personal agenda was more important too than the needs of the village. Hokage-sama, is it true that Naruto Namakes defeated Kakashi Hitaki in the belt test? Takahiro asked. I wonder why he cares, mused Hiruzen. With the help of his teammates, they were able to defeat Hitaki, who made the mistake of underestimating his opponent. The Hokage's answer appeased the shinobi side of the council, but not the civilian side of the council. He's becoming too strong. We should scale back on his training, Misaki Miyu said, and her comment gained a few nods from other members of the civiline government. Absolutely not. Naruto has diverted several conflict from the Konoha. Just by being in the village, I cannot hinder the development of a shinobi who has the great potential, Sarutobi said firmly. Besides, what type of Jinkiriki would he be if he didn't learn to control his tenet? No, we will not hinder his training. Our number one priority needs to be keeping him loyal to Konoha. At Sarutobi's last statement, everyone in the council room nodded in agreement. It was at this time that the other 3 members of the council showed up. Danzo Shimura, the old scheming war hawk, Hamura Mitokado, and Koho Udatane, the old members of Team Tobarame. The old members entered the room. Koharu and Hamura gave a slight bow, and they took their respective seats. Have we missed anything important? Hamura asked as he became comfortable in his seat. Not at all. The civilian council was suggesting holding back on Namake's Naruto's training, Sarutobi said. All three of the elderly people raised their eyebrows in surprise. Danzo had figured they would try to do something like that, and they sent a small amount of killer intent at the civil side. Is there anything else of importance? Sarutobi asked. This time, it was Hayashi who spoke up. Who will be Namake's sensei while Hitaki is recovering? Sarutobi responded, I think that they will be able to do some D-rank missions while he recovers, and when he does, they can start going on a few C-rank. This answer appeased Hayashi and the rest of the council. The civilian side of the council decided TI was time to lay out the problems that plagued the civilians in Konoha. To some degree, Iruzan tuned out their squabbles, and he then thought Abu Naruto. I wonder what everyone will do when he starts training with the QB, Sarutobi thought with trepidation. Naruto, I will do my best to protect you from the corruption of Konoha. Perhaps one day you can do something about it. One would think that Kakashi would be upset with his situation. It was the exact opposite. After he had been reprimanded by the Hokage, his team had started doing the customary D-ranked missions. Because of his crutches, he couldn't help them with their missions, so he spent the majority of his days reading his beloved orange book. It had been a week since the first spar. The doctor said that he would be back on his feet in 2 months, so he was going to soak it up while he had the time. Due to the severity of his broken right foot, the medical needs couldn't heal it fully, but with regular visits to the hospital, the injury would heal in a fraction of the time. When his team was not on missions, he would supervise their training. Kakashi found out very quickly that each boy had learned their element, and he also found out that Naruto and Sasuke had terrible chakra control. So he started them on the tree climbing exercise. It had taken the boys several days to get to the top of the tree, but Sai had managed to do it on the second day. Kakashi thought about Sai with a frown. I've worked with this kid for a week, and I have yet to find anything out about the boy. Sai was a complete enigma to Kakashi, as were the rest of his team, but Sai was the worst. The boy never got frustrated. He never showed any emotion except for his smile, which was obviously fake. It's like he doesn't have any emotions. Kakashi then thought about the other 2 members of his team with a slight smile. When he found out that he would be training his sensei's son and the legacy of his best friend, he was overjoyed. Then he met the boys. Naruto behaved just like his father did on the battlefield, except they weren't on a battlefield. His cold blue eyes reminded Kakashi so much of his sensei, and he found it very hard to figure out what the boy was thinking. Sasuke acted like the exact opposite of Obito. He had yet to awaken his Sharingan, but his attitude was very professional for a genin. Kakashi also realized just how close Naruto and Sasuke were. The two were like brothers, and their teamwork was a joy to watch. Naruto and Sasuke were on their way to the Namake's mansion. Naruto was going to make good on his promise to Sasuke when they were 10 years old. Sasuke was very elated, but a passerby would never know. Naruto could tell he was excited by the subtle signs he displayed. The slightly quickened pace, his hands at his sides instead of in his pockets, and his eyes glancing back and forth on the road. Yup, Sasuke was excited. And who wouldn't be? People would kill for the opportunity just to see inside of the scroll vault of the Yondaime, let alone learn jutsu from it. Naruto had already explained to him that it was impossible for Sasuke to learn the Hiraishin, but he said there were tons of other jutsu he could learn. The 2 boys didn't tell anyone about their deal because it could attract a lot of unwanted attention. Naruto hadn't taken a look inside of his father's vault since he was 12 years old. Back then, he didn't understand a lot that was in the scroll, and when he graduated, he waited till he and Sasuke had a day off to go back inside. That was a really good bet, Naruto thought to himself. The 2 boys were basically like brothers, and without question, they knew each other better than anyone else. They were walking down the street, and they took a turn into the richer part of Konoha. In this part of the village was where the clans lived, the Hokage, and all the members of the council. When they arrived at the manor, no matter how many times Sasuke had visited Naruto's house, he was always awestruck and slightly intimidated by the beautiful building. The house had been a gift from the village to the Yondaime. When it became known that Kushina was pregnant, at first the Namakes refused the gift, but the villagers wouldn't budge. They insisted that they lived in it, saying that it was the least the village as a whole could do for two people that had sacrificed their lives in servitude to the village. It was only 1 month later that the Kyuubi attacked. When they entered the house, Naruto led Sasuke down to the basement and to a wall that looked completely blank. Sasuke gave Naruto a questioning glance, but Naruto raised his hand to stop the incoming question. Naruto bit his right thumb. It immediately healed and wiped it on the wall in front of him. The wall morphed into an impressive-looking wooden door. Naruto walked up to the door, opened it, and beckoned Sasuke inside. You know, I sort of expected more security for this vault, Sasuke said as he looked around at the impressive display of scrolls that littered the shelves and floor. The first seal was a blood seal. To open the door, you had to be an Namikaze. Your heart had to still be beating, and if you weren't, tiny poisonous spikes would stick out from the door handle and into your hand as soon as you touched the door handle, Naruto said. Sasuke looked at him with raised eyebrows and asked, "How do you know?" Naruto never told anyone except the Hokage about this incident. Once when I was 8, an infiltrated the village and broke into my house. It was around 3 in the morning, and I was naturally asleep. The Nin bound me and gagged my mouth. He brought me down to the basement to this wall and cut my hand. He then used the blood on the wall, and the door appeared. He looked very happy at first, but when he went to open the door, as soon as his palm went around the handle, he cried out in pain, started convulsing, and he fell down to the floor dead. Sasuke slightly paled at this revelation, but said, "Well, it's a good thing you're my friend." Naruto nodded his head, and the two boys started to look for something useful. After a few minutes of learning, Sasuke found something that caught his eye, the Rasengan. "Yo, look at this," Sasuke said to Naruto. "What is it?" Naruto asked as he walked over. "It's some jutsu called the Rasengan. It's described as an A-rank jutsu. That is an offensive jutsu that your element can be added to, and it doesn't require any hand signs," Sasuke summarized as he read the description. "Wow, that sounds pretty sick. Is that the jutsu you want to learn?" Naruto asked. "Yeah, it seems like it could be useful, and Itachi wouldn't be able to copy it," Sasuke said in a contented voice. Naruto had tried to get Sasuke to stop focusing on killing his brother. It had led to many arguments over what was more important, restoring the clan or killing Itachi. Sasuke didn't obsess over killing Itachi as much as when he was younger, but in the end, all of his training always led to being strong enough to kill his older brother. The only one that could probably convince Sasuke to give up his quest of vengeance would be Hinata, Naruto thought. As much as Naruto tried to convince Sasuke to stop trying to kill Itachi, he could understand where he was coming from, having an older brother that you idolized butcher your whole family right in front of you. Yet he would probably want to kill him as much as Sasuke wanted to as well. Sasuke took the scroll containing the Rasengan and said he would return it when he was done. Sasuke then bid farewell and went to train. Naruto then decided he would try to do something he hadn't done in years. Visit his tenant. Naruto went into his massive bedroom, closed and locked the door. He then got into a meditative pose and entered the recesses of his mind. He woke up in a weird building. 75% of the room was a cold office building. The other fourth was a warm, inviting room that had a fireplace and a cozy recliner. That's weird. Last time I came down here, the living room section and the office section were half and half. Naruto exited the strange room and entered a dark one-way corridor that led to a larger room. He swiftly walked down the corridor and entered the large room. The room was the size of an aircraft hangar, and at the far end of the room, there was a huge cage. Naruto quickly walked over to the cage. The only reason he wasn't winded from the brisk walk was the fact he trained excessively in endurance. He got up to the cage, but stayed 20 feet away, and he addressed his tenant. "Hello, Kyuubi," Naruto said as he sat down to get comfortable. Two giant red, slitted eyes peered out at Naruto from the dark cage. The cage was so dark that the eyes seemed to be floating in mid-air. "Hello, Naruto. I wondered when you would pay me another visit," the Kyuubi said in its booming voice. "Why have you come back here?" the Kyuubi said in a disinterested tone. "I had a couple questions I wanted to be answered." "Oh, really?" the Kyuubi replied in the same disinterested tone. "What questions might those be?" "Well, I want to know if you would allow me to use some of your chakra, because what type of Jinkyuriki would I be if I didn't use my gift to help me out in battle? You have a good point. You would be a pathetic Jinchuriki if you didn't use my chakra, but I demand something in return. And what would that be? Naruto asked in cold voice. I wish to be able to see out of your eyes and hear your thoughts. Okay, I thought he was going to make some ridiculous request. That's not too bad. Will there be any adverse effects from using your chakra? I don't know, the QB replied in a sarcastic tone. That's bull. You've had many Jinchuriki, and you don't know what sort of adverse effect the chakra could have. Naruto asked in an irritated tone. No, I need to remain cool. If I lose my head, it will get me nowhere. You want my chakra? I'm allowing you to use it. Be thankful that I am, and that I cannot kill you, because you would have been dead before you entered the room, the fox said in an irritated tone. Naruto just scoffed at the small rant. The fox didn't scare him. I have one more question. What will happen to you when I die? The QB's eyes widened slightly in surprise at the question, but he answered the question, honestly, I don't know. Either I will die, or I will be set free. I do know that you can alter the seal so that when you die, I will be released. And why would I want to do that? Naruto asked in a curious tone. You killed my parents and almost destroyed my vil. But before he could finish, he was cut off by the QB. Don't talk to me like you actually care about the village boy. In that cesspool, how many people do you actually care about? The ramen girl, the Uchiha, and the Hyuga? What would you do if all of them died or left the village? The fox roared. I would do everything in my power to bring them back, Naruto said with resolve. What they don't want to come back? What would you put first? Your duty to a village that is scared of you, or your friendship to the only 3 people in the world that actually cared about you? To that question, Naruto didn't have an answer, and it was specifically for reasons like this that he hated having to talk to the fox. It pointed out the shortcomings in his life, and very often it made him realize just how lonely he was. I don't know, Naruto said as he looked down to his feet. That's what I thought. Don't make judgments without proof. But why would I release you? Naruto asked in a firm tone. You still killed my parents. When Naruto asked this question, he noticed that the fox's demeanor changed. The small amount of killer intent that the fox had been emitting suddenly stopped. I'm not proud of what happened 14 years ago, the fox said in a remorseful tone, but I'll have you know that I wasn't in control when I attacked the village. Naruto's interest was now piqued. What does it mean, it wasn't in control? If I tell you who was behind the attack, you have to promise to release me when you die, and you have to do everything in your power to make THS man suffer. You have my word. I'll release you when I die, but you cannot attack any one of my close friends or my family if I have one when I die. We have an accord. Let's seal it with a blood vow. Naruto nodded and took a kunai out of his pouch and slid his palm. The fox also bit its paw and held it out through the bars of the cage. Naruto walked up with his bleeding hand, and he put on the outstretched, bleeding paw of the QB. Do you, Naruto Namikaze, swear, to the best of your ability, kill the man who tricked me into attacking Konoha? And do you swear to release me in my prison when you die? Yes, Naruto said in a voice void of emotion or doubt. After Naruto said yes, visible purple chakra circled the 2 appendages and swiftly disappeared. The man's name is Uchiha Madara. Naruto wasn't sure what happened, but he woke up and back in his bedroom. What time is it? He exited the room and walked down the hallway toward his kitchen. He looked at the clock and had a slight double take. It said it was 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning. What the heck? When I went to talk to QB, it was only 4:30. It was then that all of the memories of his conversation with the QB came roaring back into his mind. Madara Uchiha, how the heck is he still alive? He fought the Fist Hokage for the right to be Hokage. I need to get stronger. Naruto then went into the bathroom to take a look at himself. The fox said that there wouldn't be any effects from using his chakra, but he was probably lying. When Naruto entered the bathroom, he immediately went to the mirror to check himself. He took one look in the mirror and was relieved that there was only one change in his appearance. He had purple slitted eyes. I know you see, hear me. Do you give me a constant stream of chakra? Or can I turn it on or off? It's not a constant stream. but because your body has been tainted with my chakra, your eye color will never go back to being blue. A few perks to having the eyes differently is that you'll be able to see a lot farther than you normally would. And if your chakra control became good enough, you would be able to cast Jinjutsu with your eyes. You will also be able to access some of my killer intent. Cool, that will be very helpful. You can't access all of it though, but as you get older, you'll be able to harness more off my chakra and killer intent. How much power are you giving me right now? Half a tail's worth. If I give you more, it will start to damage your body. Once your muscles have fully developed, I'll be able to channel 2 tails worth of power all the time. Be careful though, there's a type of Sharingan. Manjiko Sharingan can suppress my chakra. That is what Madara used to control me. Should I tell the Hokage about Madara? Absolutely not. I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't believe you. And if they did, Madara Pro Baby has spies in the council. Okay, I need to become a Chunin as soon as possible, so I'm going to go train. Naruto walked out of the bathroom and into the dojo that was under his bedroom. He created 5 shadow clones to start wall walking to help his chakra control. And he created 5 more to go to the library to start reading up on things he was lacking in. The number one thing he had to work on was his chakra control. It was his lack of control that made him unable to do a regular Bushinjutsu. Naruto looked at his clones. They would walk on the ground of the dojo till they came up to a wall. When they came up to the wall, they preceded it. 2 of the clones fell down when they reached the ceiling. Shows how much I need to improve. Naruto had already found out his chakra element. It was wind, the same as his father's. He had read a couple wind jutsus, but he only knew 2. Futon, wind stream jutsu, and futon, wind repeating bullet jutsu. Both jutsu could be maintained as long as the person kept flowing chakra into the jutsu. But Naruto's control was so bad that he could only hold them for 2 minutes max before he exhausted himself. Naruto trained until it was 8:00 in the morning. When he dispelled his clones, he was bombarded with their memories. He walked up to the wall and put his first foot, then his second foot, and proceeded to walk around the dojo on the wall. Kakashi-sensei will be pleased when he sees how much I've improved. Despite not sleeping for the past 24 hours, Naruto wasn't tired at all. He went to the kitchen and grabbed some breakfast before heading out the door. I should go to the training ground to see if Sasuke or Sai is there. Naruto didn't want to be caught up in the morning foot traffic, so he jumped up to the roofs of the building and took off towards training ground 11. It was only 8:45, so he wasn't surprised to see that neither Sasuke nor Sai was there. I wonder how Sasuke is coming along with the Rasengan. I should swing by training ground 32 and see if Manami is in. And with that final thought, Naruto sped off towards the other training ground 32. The route that Naruto took to get to the training ground led him past training ground 44, the Forest of Death. A normal person would probably involuntarily shiver about going into a place like that, but Naruto was actually intrigued by it. Would you recommend that I train in there? I don't see why not. It would be good to get some experience, even if it's from wild animals. Naruto took another look at the forest and made a mental note to check it out later. He continued on his way towards the training ground 32. When he arrived at the training ground, he was surprised to see that only the genin of Team 7 were in the clearing. He walked past the iron fence and entered the clearing. When he walked in, he noticed what everyone was doing. Manami working on some sort of earth jutsu, while Sakura was practicing Jinjutsu on Riku, who was practicing breaking out of it. Hey everybody, Naruto said to get all of their attention. Manami stopped his earth jutsu and walked up to Naruto and shook his hand. Hey Naruto, you come by for a spar? The tall teen asked. Yeah, I went by my training ground, but no one was there, so I decided to stop by. By the time Naruto had finished addressing Manami, the girls had stopped practicing and had come by to give their greetings. Hi Naruto, both girls said simultaneously. Yo, Naruto replied with a slight wave. Did you come by to train with us? Riku asked in anticipation. No, I actually came by to spar with Manami, Naruto replied. But if my sensei is late to our already late meetings, I guess I could train with you guys. Cool. Sweet. Awesome. All of them said at the same time. Naruto noticed that Riku seemed happier than the other two. I actually wouldn't mind going out with her if she's a decent kunoichi. I don't know, kid. You should try to stay away from fangirls. Inop just ignored the Kyuubi, though. Hey, where's you guys' sensei? I haven't met them yet. Naruto asked. Our sensei is away on an important mission that was specifically requested for him. He'll be back in about a week, Riku said with a slight blush. It happened very seldom, but every now and then, a mission would come up that would require a Jonin sensei to leave his genin team. Most of these missions were when an important client would request a certain person to carry out the mission. Let's get this started, Manami, Naruto said as he started walking away from the girls. Manami just started walking towards where Naruto stood and stood 20 feet away from him and took up the tiger stance. Naruto just stood there and waited for Manami to come after him. I feel really powerful. Is that because of your chakra? No, it's the results of your training. Manami was waiting for Naruto to make the first move, and he saw a few expressions cross his face. Confidence, curiosity, happiness. All of these emotions flashed across his face very quickly, and if Manami was a fresh out of the academy student, he would have missed them. Manami was 16 years old, and he had been on another Genin team before Team 7. When the Chunin exams came around, Manami held his ground while trying to help his teammates as much as possible. But he never made it past the second round. It wasn't his fault. His sensei always told him that if the Chunin exams were an individual test, he would have passed with ease. Riku was on his previous team, and they were good friends. Manami acted like an older brother towards the girl, and had saved her life on a few occasions. When Riku was fresh out of the academy, she was still very unaware of the evils in the world that happened every day. She had a small chakra reserve, but she tried very hard to improve, especially after Manami saved her life. After the death of her teammate, someone she had known for a long time, Riku had started to take her training even more seriously, and when the Chunin exams came around, this time they were all getting through. Naruto stared at Manami for about a minute before rushing in with impressive speed. Crap, he's fast, Manami thought while dodging and blocking his punches. Wow, he's not holding back, Sakura said to herself, but Riku heard. What do you mean? Riku asked. When we were at the academy, Naruto would always hold back during spars except for when he fought Sasuke-kun, Sakura said while looking at the match. So he's more powerful than he showed to his classmates, Riku thought. When he and Sasuke fought, who would win? It was always a toss-up, but you could tell from the spar that even though they were best friends, they hated losing to each other. I would love to spar with him one day, and maybe after I show him how powerful I am, he'll go out with me. Naruto ducked under a lariat from Manami. The rules for the spar were simple, no jutsus. Naruto was pretty good at taijutsu, but he wasn't as good as Manami. Maybe I should try using some more chakra? I wouldn't recommend it. You still don't know how you'll react to it in battle, and it wouldn't do you much good if you accidentally killed a comrade. True. Naruto jumped back from Manami, but before Manami could catch his breath, Naruto was back on him. I'll have to tire him out. Naruto went with a right jab that Manami dodged, but when the tall boy dodged to the left, Naruto followed with a brutal roundhouse kick. Manami blocked the roundhouse kick with his arm, but that was a mistake. Neither Naruto nor Manami realized just how much power was poured into the kick, and when Manami tried to block with only his forearm, a sickening snap could be heard throughout the training ground. Manami didn't yell out in pain. He was a ninja after all, but you could tell from his face that he was in a world of hurt. Are you okay? Sakura asked as she and Riku ran up to Manami. I just freaking had my arm broken. Do I look okay? Manami hissed. Let's just get him to the hospital, Naruto said. As they hoisted Manami to his feet, Naruto was busy talking to the QB. What the hell was that? Settle down. I don't think you realized it, but you were flowing chakra through your limbs. Your chakra control improved so much that you started unconsciously doing it. You remind me of a medic nin I know. If I channel chakra through my limbs, the attacks become more powerful. That could be useful. Don't overdo it though. Your chakra control is still shoddy at best. Using that in battle would basically be a waste of chakra till your control improves. Naruto was so engrossed in listening to the QB that he didn't even realize they were at the hospital. OT was only a short walk from the training ground to the hospital. When they entered the doors, the first room was a reception desk. The girls took their injured teammate up to the desk, and they had him administered. The girls returned back to where Naruto stood. I'm sorry for what happened to Manami, Naruto started. Some weird stuff happened last night, and I'm still getting used to it. Yeah, I could tell. Your eyes are purple, Riku said. She's pretty observant. None of the others seem to have noticed. Do you girls want to train with my team today? Naruto asked. What the heck am I thinking? They'll probably spend more time ogling at me or Sasuke than actually doing anything. As soon as the request left his mouth, the girls instantly complied. As they walked down the street towards the training ground, Riku started questioning Naruto about the jutsu he learned. What jutsus do you know? Riku asked. I only know 4, but they range from B to S rank, Naruto said. When he mentioned S rank, both girls nearly tripped over their own feet. What is the S rank jutsu you know? Riku asked, before realizing what she just asked, as if he'd even tell us. I know 2 S rank. One of them is an advanced clone technique, the other is top secret. Could you show us the clone jutsu? Sakura asked as they near the training field. Sure, and Naruto flashed through the familiar hand signs. When he was done, 2 identical clones of Naruto stood next to him. The clones waved at the girls and ran off to the training ground to see if anyone was there. Wow, that's so cool, Riku said. You could clearly hear the admiration in her voice as they entered training ground 11. The clones were currently talking to Sasuke while Sai was sitting down painting. Naruto walked up to the 2 boys and asked in an exasperated tone, Where is Kakashi? It's 10 o'clock. I don't know, Sai said while not even looking up from his painting. Sasuke just shrugged his shoulders while he was busy arguing with one of Naruto's clones. Sasuke-kun. Sakura shouted as she ran towards the raven-haired boy. As soon as Sakura ran off, Riku went on the offensive. So if your sensei isn't here, then are you going to be free this afternoon? Ah, Naruto said hesitantly. You want to grab something to eat after we train? Riku said with huge puppy dog eyes. Naruto made the grave mistake that men have committed since the beginning of time. He looked at her eyes. He was about to comply with her request when something struck him that he hadn't noticed before. When did I say they could train with us? Well, this will be interesting. There won't be any harm in training with them. After all, I did put their teammate in the hospital. Okay, Naruto said simply. Sweet, let's go train, Riku said as she grabbed Naruto's hand and dragged him towards the clearing. What the hell did I just get myself into? Team 11 and Team 7 were currently eating at Ichiraku's. Manami had been released from the hospital yesterday, but his left arm was all bandaged up. He had a dislocated arm and a broken humerus, all from one kick. The 2 teams had become a lot closer over the past week. Team 7 Sensei had not yet returned from his mission, and so the 2 teams would train together every day. Kakashi still managed to find a way to be late for their already late training, but when he did come, he taught both teams a lot of things. The 2 teams planned to go to the mission hall to grab one to do together. Because of the absence of Team 7 Sensei, the 2 teams had asked if they could go on D-ranked missions together. So, Sasuke-kun, after we do our D-ranks for the day, you want to do something together later on? Sakura asked hopefully. I won't have time, Sasuke began in a fake disappointed voice. I still have a jutsu to work on. Oh, Sakura said, clearly disappointed. Can't she take a hint? She's asked me that every day for the past week. Naruto just looked at his best friend with an amused smirk. He knew the jutsu that Sasuke was talking about, the Rasengan. Sasuke had poured his heart and soul into learning the jutsus, but progress was really slow, and he was still only on the 2nd stage of the jutsu. Naruto and Sasuke still hadn't told anyone that Sasuke was learning the jutsu, and as a result, the 2 had to figure out themselves. The problem Sasuke had was that his chakra control was still pretty bad, and as a result, he would tire himself out before he could pop the rubber ball. Naruto had taught Sasuke the Kagebushin in an effort to get better control quickly, but he still had little to show after a week of practicing. It was now Riku's turn to try to rope Naruto into a date with her. She naturally sat down next to Naruto and asked, So if Sasuke is going to be busy later on, do you want to go to a movie or something? She asked with the puppy dog eyes. Well, Naruto began. He was not aware that Ayam was shooting Riku a dangerous glare. I guess so, but I have some training to do, so I'll probably be free around 6-foot-ish. Riku had a triumphant look and returned the glare back to Ayam. Eat that ramen, girl. Naruto didn't really mind hanging around Riku. It's not like he had a crush on her, but she was a really good kuniochi and really fun to be around. So it looked like he was ignoring all the little interaction between the two teams. But on the inside, he was making mental notes to talk to Danzo about. Rika seems unusually happy about spending time with Naruto. And what is this jutsu Sasuke keeps talking about? After 10 more minutes of sitting around and talking, the two teams left the ramen stand and proceeded to walk towards Mission Hall. I hope we could get something more exciting than catching a stupid cat again, Sakura complained. The two teams combined had caught Tora 7 times already, and they had graduated only 3 weeks ago. I know, right? I'm actually glad I'm hurt right now, 'cause those Durangs would drive me crazy, Manami said with a chuckle. He quickly stopped chuckling, however, when he felt the combined killer intent of everybody else, including Sai. It was just a joke, Manami lied while he waved his non-broken arm in a placating manner. They arrived at the mission hall and proceeded to walk up to the desk to ask for a mission. Teams 11 and 7 requesting a mission, Naruto said in a professional tone. The Chunin looked up from the paper she was filing and smiled when she saw Naruto. Of course. Any preferred rank? Naruto looked at the 5 active shinobi and said, I think we'll try a C rank. The Chunin nodded her head and began looking for a low Chunin mission for the genin. Normally, the senseis would accompany their genin, but seeing as Kakashi still had a month to go before active duty and Team 7 sensei's absence, the Hokage had decided to temporarily merge the teams till Kakashi healed. The Chunin found a mission and looked up at Naruto while handing him the file. The Hokage wanted to speak with all of you genin, and don't open up the file till you get into his office, the Chunin said. They then left the mission hall and proceeded towards the Hokage tower. I hope it's something interesting, like we get to fight other ninja, or something cool like that, Rika said. Yeah, it would be pretty cool to get some real action, Naruto said. The last time he had actually fought with someone was 2 years ago when a crazed, drunken Konoha ninja tried to kill him. I wonder if we'll be leaving the village, Sakura mused out loud. They probably wouldn't send new genin out of the village, let alone on a mission where there is the possibility of fighting enemy shinobi, Sasuke said. Everyone there, except Manami and Sai, nodded their heads in agreement. Naruto had not really paid much attention to the general populace of Konoha since the spar with Kakashi. He took a glance around at all the people laking in the streets, or trying to sell their wares, and he could definitely sense one thing. Fear. He noticed that everyone in their little group was given a small lane to walk through. It was common courtesy to treat all ninja, regardless of rank, with a certain amount of respect. Naruto, on the other hand, was given a wider berth than everyone else, and he noticed the scared looks all the civilians were giving him. Apparently, they thought that he defeated Kakashi on his own. Why are they afraid of me? They are afraid of what they don't understand. The stronger you get, the worse their fear will become. How do I get them to not fear me? I don't know. I do know that humans tend to end up hating things that they fear. Even though your father was the 4th, I don't think that will stop people from hating you. It will probably become even worse when you start to use my chakra in public. So watch your back. Okay, thanks for the input. No problem, and the QB went back to sleep. They arrived at the Hokage tower, but instead of going in to see the Hokage, Manami bid them all farewell and went home. All of the genin walked up to the secretary, and Sasuke addressed her. Excuse me, we were supposed to see the Hokage about our C-rank mission. The secretary didn't look up from her work at first. Why would Hokage-sama want to see a bunch of genin about a C-rank mission? The secretary looked up from her papers and realized who she was talking to. The last Uchiha and the Namikaze heir. Right away, she said as she led them into the office. Sarutobi was seated behind his desk, and when the genin walked in, he nodded in acknowledgement. All of the genin gave him a bow, and Naruto walked up to his desk and handed him the mission file. Sarutobi looked over the mission file, put it back on his desk, and addressed all of the genin. The mission, he said while he held up the file, is to escort a bridge builder to Nami no Kuni, to protect him while he finishes his building the bridge. There should not be any contact with hostile forces. The most there would be bandits. If you come across any foreign shinobi, do not engage except in self-defense. Am I understood? Hi Hokage-sama, the genin chorused. We're taking a big risk sending out 5 genin, and not to depreciate the life of Miss Haruno and Sai. But Naruto, Sasuke, and Riku are extremely important to the future of Konoha, Sarutobi said. All of the Genin looked at Riku in surprise. What's so special about her? Sasuke thought. Sarutobi saw their questioning faces and chuckled. So Riku didn't tell you? When all of the Genin shook their heads no, Hiruzen beckoned Riku to tell what her importance to the village was. Riku looked slightly embarrassed, but said in a strong voice, "As most of you know, my chakra affinity is wind." Naruto didn't know this, and his interest was now piqued. Wind affinity is very rare to Konoha ninja, and is most common to ninja from Suna. Naruto's interest was now really piqued. What relation does she have to Suna? I'm the daughter of the Suna liaison to Konoha. My mother was a Konoha nin before she died, and my father has to constantly travel back and forth between the two villages, but he is a Suna nin. The reason I do not live in Suna is that the villages didn't want me to be separated from my mother. All of the Genin looked at her in surprise. Riku-sensei and Manami knew of her position, but she had forgotten to tell everyone else. She basically lived by herself, and over the course of a year, she would probably only see her father for a month's worth of time. She loved her father very much, but she knew if Konoha ever went to war with Suna, she would potentially have to fight her father. Riku took an oath to Konoha, and she wasn't breaking it for anybody. As an extra precaution, we will be having a Chunin lead the team, Sarutobi said. And when he finished, Hana Inazaka walked into the room and saluted all the Genin and bowed to the Hokage. Hokage-sama, are these the Genin I will be leading on the mission? Yes, Team 11 Sensei has been injured, and he will be incapacitated for 1 more month. Team 7 Sensei is away on an S-rank mission. Riku and Sakura looked at the Hokage in shock, and their third teammate has been injured as well, Sarutobi said. Hana nodded her head, and Sarutobi dismissed all of the teens, except Naruto. Naruto walked back towards the Hokage and asked, "What can I do for you, Sarutobi-sama?" Hiruzen didn't really know how to approach this subject, so he cut straight to the point. "Naruto, why are your eyes purple?" "Oh crap, what should I do?" "Tell him that you have access to my chakra, and it tainted your eyes, but don't tell him anything else." Naruto didn't respond at first, but his poker face never fell, and Hiruzen couldn't read him. When Naruto responded, it was in a cold, dead voice that reminded Sarutobi so much of one of his students. "A couple days ago, I accessed the Kyuubi's chakra, and it tainted my body." This, Naruto said as he pointed his eyes, "is a side effect, but I can see better than I ever have before." Sarutobi was slightly frightened. He wasn't supposed to access the chakra till Jiraiya was here. I'll have to summon him back quickly. Sarutobi looked at Naruto and said, "I don't want you using the Kyuubi's chakra anymore till I can have someone look at the seal. We have to make sure that the Kyuubi cannot break free." To say that Naruto was pissed was an understatement. "What type of Jinchuriki would I be if I didn't use your chakra?" Jinchurikis in Kyumo start training with their demons at 7 years old. Naruto responded in the same tone of voice. "Sarutobi-sama, I'd hoped you had complete faith in my father's seal. To doubt the sealing skill of the fourth is slightly insulting. And what type of Jinchuriki would I be if I didn't use its chakra?" Sarutobi was kind of put off that Naruto questioned his decision, but he realized where Naruto was coming from, and he realized how bad this probably sounded. I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks everyone is afraid of him. This is really bad. The last thing that Sarutobi wanted was for the village to be afraid of Naruto, because he knew that people tended to hate things that they fear. "Naruto, it is just a precautionary step, and after I get someone to see your seal, you can use the demon's chakra." Naruto gave a swift bow and left the office before Hiruzen could say anything else. Sarutobi just sighed. "Naruto, what are we going to do with you?" When Naruto was out of the office, he noticed that Tams 7 and 11 were there. He walked right past them, slammed the Hokage doors open, and walked at a brisk pace towards his house. "Kid, are you sure that was wise? He is the Hokage after all." "No, I'm sure that was wise. He's just afraid of me like everyone else." Sasuke was talking to Sakura and Riku when Naruto stepped out of the Hokage's office, walked right by them. He ignored Riku as she tried to talk to him, and threw open the Hokage Tower's doors. Sasuke was sure he was the only one that noticed Naruto's eyes took on a redder tone of purple. I'll visit him later to see what's up. Sasuke looked around at all the kids here. He noticed that Sakura seemed kind of happy. So I was looking at the Hokage tower doors while pondering something, and Rika looked very sad, almost on the verge of tears. Hokage-sama probably said something to him that he didn't like. In case you haven't noticed, ever since Naruto's eyes turned purple, he's had a very quick temper, Sasuke said to the whole group. I'll talk to him tonight to see what's up, Sasuke said as he also exited the tower. When Naruto arrived at the manor, he immediately went to meditate to ease his mind. By the time he finished meditating 8 o'clock at night, and he was pretty hungry, he went into the kitchen and prepared some sushi to eat. It's healthier than ramen. And he sat down and watched TV. He was watching some weird show in which a bunch of 20-some-odd-year-olds went to Italy and lived there for a few weeks, totally pointless. It was about 8:45 when his doorbell rang. Naruto had no question as to who would be at his door at the weird hour. Sasuke only had to wait at the door for a minute before Naruto answered. "What's up?" Naruto said as he led Sasuke into his living room. "Mind telling me what the hell happened at the Hokage tower?" Sasuke said in a serious manner. "I was told I cannot use the Kyuubi's chakra until someone looks at the seal. I don't even know when that will be, and our first rank mission is tomorrow, and who knows how long that will take." "Why are your eyes a reddish-purple color?" "My eyes aren't purple," Naruto asked when Sasuke said no. Naruto jumped up from the couch and checked himself in the mirror in the bathroom. "Why aren't my eyes purple?" "I'm not sure. Maybe it's because you were so pissed this morning that you used more of my chakra. So the more of your chakra that I use, the redder my eyes will get?" "Looks like it." Naruto exited the bathroom and told Sasuke the story of him meeting the Kyuubi a week ago. It was about 10 when Sasuke left and Naruto got ready for bed. He entered his master bathroom and spent a good half hour in the jacuzzi to release his stress. Naruto hadn't slept all that well since he accessed the Kyuubi's chakra, but he didn't need it because his regenerative abilities kept him refreshed even if he only had 15 minutes of sleep. In a dark and well-concealed cave, Sai was giving his weekly report to Danzo. "Danzo-sama, I noticed today that Naruto-san's eyes are no longer blue." "No longer blue? What color are his eyes now?" "His eyes are now a reddish-purple color." Danzo immediately put 2 and 2 together, and he realized what was going on. "Has he been slightly irritable lately?" "Hi, Danzo-sama." "And sometimes he appears to be deep in thought, more so than a normal person," Sai said. "He's probably talking to the Kyuubi. I'll have to have somebody tail them on their mission tomorrow." "Good job, Sai," the old man said as he walked away. It was 7 o'clock in the morning when Naruto arrived at the Hokage tower. When he entered the room that they were supposed to meet their client, he saw that he was the last one to arrive. "Yo, Naruto," Sasuke said while playing PlayStation Vita. Naruto didn't say anything back to Sasuke, but he looked over at Riku, who was sitting quietly in a corner. He was going to go over and apologize for yesterday, but on his way there, Sai asked him a question. "Why are your eyes magenta?" "Mind your own business," Naruto said to Sai while not even turning to face him. "Your business is my business, Naruto-san," Sai said with a cheery smile. "No, it's not." Naruto ignored anything else that Sai said, and when he was next to Riku, he sat down next to her. He truly didn't want to lose a friend, and so he was doing something that he really hated to do. "Apologize." "I'm sorry for what happened yesterday," Naruto began. "Some weird crap has been going on, and I have to relearn to control my emotions." "He's apologizing. I could turn this into my benefit," Rika thought deviously. She thought about using tears to get him to do what she wanted, but she didn't want to overdo the effect. "We never did go out last night." "I forgive you, but you have to make it up to me," Rika said. Naruto looked at her in curiosity. "What do you want me to do?" "Well," Rika began, but she was interrupted when Hana and some old drunk entered the room. "Listen up," Hana began. "This is our client, Tazuna-san. He is builder that we have to protect, and if we have to, assist in the building of the bridge in Nami no Kuni." All of the genin gave Tazuna an appraising look. "He's rather fat. You can clearly smell the alcohol. And he looks like he's blind without his glasses," Sasuke thought. "I hope he's not a pedo," Riku and Sakura thought at the same time. Naruto wasn't really thinking about the bridge builder. but the task that lay before him. "This is my protection?" Tazuna asked in shock. To him, he saw two teens, one with blonde hair, the other with black, that seemed rather intimidating despite their young age. He also saw this pale-faced kid with a short sword strapped to his back, and the brunette with a violet shirt looked powerful enough, and she also had a sword strapped to his back. The last two people of the group, Hana and Sakura, slightly puzzled him. Hana had to be powerful if she commanded to the intimidating teens, and he couldn't tell anything about Sakura. Don't judge a book by its cover, especially not ninja, Tazuna thought. "Yes, this is your protection," Hana said. "Is there a problem?" No, I'm just surprised that I get good-looking ninja to protect me despite the fee I paid." Hana then turned back to her team and spoke to them. "We're leaving immediately. I hope you have everything packed. We'll be stopping at 6 o'clock at night for rest. We should be arriving in Nami no Kuni tomorrow around midday." After Hana said those words, the genin filled out of the room, out of the tower, and into the streets. It only took them 5 minutes to get OT the front gate of the village, and when Hana presented the proper paperwork, they proceeded right through. When they were on the path towards the land of the waves, Riku sidled up next to Naruto. "I never got to tell you what you had to do," Riku began. "No, you didn't," Naruto said while keeping his eyes on the road. "Well, when we get back from the village, I expect to be taken to a very nice restaurant, and maybe even a movie," Riku said in a self-righteous tone. "Okay," Naruto said. "What movie do you want to go to?" "I don't know. The new Princess Gale movie is going to be released in a few days, and I've been a big fan for years." Inwardly, Naruto groaned. He hated the Princess Gale movies, and now he had to pay for someone to watch it. On the outside, Naruto maintained a poker face and even cracked a small smile at Riku, who started blushing. "All right, we'll do that the night after we get back," Naruto said with the same small smile. Rick had talked to him for another 10 minutes, but he really wanted to go talk to Sasuke and the bridge builder. "Biggest damned bridge you've ever seen," Tazuna said to Sasuke. Sasuke just gave him a smirk in reply and was about to question the bridge builder about the land of the waves when Naruto walked up to the pair. "Yo, Naruto," Sasuke said as he joined the group. "Sup?" Naruto replied. "Hey, are you the Naruto Namikaze?" Tazuna asked in surprise. "Yes, I am. How do you know who I am? I didn't know I was that famous outside of Konoha." Hee hee. Tazuna gave a slight chuckle. "I think you don't realize just how famous your father was. I'm pretty sure most people in the elemental nations have at least heard of you, and due to your blonde hair, it would be hard not to recognize you." Naruto slightly paled at his little speech. "I knew I was pretty well known, but I didn't know I was known that much." "Well, you also have to realize that the villagers probably didn't keep it a secret about who you were. Need I remind you that you've already had 5 attempts on your life?" "True, I need to get stronger." "Agreed. When we get back, you could train with my chakra in your father's dojo." He had the walls of the dojo made out of a chakra-proof barrier, so no one can sense any jutsu being performed in the dojo. "That will be useful, especially now that I can't use your chakra." Unbeknownst to Naruto, Sai was watching his every move. He seems to have phased out again. The group traveled on for the rest of the day, and it was precisely at 6 o'clock when they set up camp. The ninja were not particularly tired, but Tazuna was worn out from the journey. "Man, my back hurts," Tazuna said as he sat down and seemingly produced a bottle of sake out of thin air. "Okay, we'll set out at 7:30 in the morning," Hana said in a commanding tone. "We should arrive in the land of the waves around midday tomorrow." "Aye," Riku and Sakura said, while Naruto and Sasuke nodded their heads. Sai just gave his fake smile. Naruto produced 2 scrolls from his backpack. It was his first mission outside of Konoha, so he made sure he had the necessities. His PlayStation Vita was the first thing he packed, along with his tent and other less important junk. He pushed some chakra into the scroll that contained his tent, and when that appeared, he pushed chakra into the scroll that contained his beloved PlayStation Vita. He unzipped his jacket, leaving him in a black long-sleeved muscle shirt. Unknown to Naruto, Riku was looking at his ripped body and drooling shamelessly. Sasuke was also going through the same ritual that Naruto was going through simultaneously. He brought out his PSV and sat down next to Naruto, who was sitting around a campfire that Sakura had made. Sakura and Riku had positioned their tents unusually close to their crushes. As the combined teams sat around the campfire, they ate the meals that Hei had packed in silence. Naruto was sitting next to his bro, and on his left side Riku sat. Likewise on Sasuke's right side Sakura sat. Those two boys are painfully oblivious to Sakura and Riku's affection. It can't be helped. From what Mom told me, they had very lonely childhoods and probably don't pick up the subtle signs of affection, Hannah thought as she watched the interaction. The group went to sleep early so they could get a quick start on the day tomorrow. Naruto noticed how close Riku's tent was to his. While they were walking, Sai noticed Naruto and Sasuke constantly whispering something about Big Ball. From the snippets of conversation that he heard, apparently it wasn't doing all that well. Sai decided to approach the duo and ask them what they were talking about. Maybe we can work on it during the mission, Naruto said. He was about to say something else to Sasuke when Sai walked up to them. I couldn't help but overhear something about Big Ball. I was wondering just what exactly Big Ball was, Sai said with his fake smile. Hannah was a few steps behind the group and watched the interaction of the teens with narrowed eyes. Their file said that Sasuke and Naruto didn't exactly get along with Sai. Big Ball is none of your business, Sasuke said. Sai was persistent, however, and countered, we are teammates, and I could potentially help with Big Ball from what I overheard. It isn't working out well. Naruto spoke this time before Sasuke. I'm pretty sure that you couldn't help us out, even if we did want your help, but I can guarantee that it won't interfere with the mission. And before Sai could get in another word, Sasuke and Naruto quickened their pace and walked further up the path. Meanwhile, back in Konoha, Hiruzen was on his way to the weekly council meeting. He was in a relatively good mood, but he had some issues to deal with. His main problem was Naruto. It was no secret that Naruto Namikaze and Sasuke Uchiha were like brothers, and no doubt if one of them left the village, the other would probably follow. The village had accidentally ostracized Naruto from society. He had a very lonely childhood, and recent events had sort of reminded the villagers of what he held. When news of his eyes changing color had spread, his blue eyes were the object of many girls' fantasies. Many theories and rumors spread throughout the village like wildfire. Most of them were rather ludicrous in nature, but it was alarming to Hiruzen just how frightened the villagers had become of Naruto in a short amount of time. Sarutobi entered the council room. He gave the clan heads an acknowledging nod and had his stifle rolling his eyes at the civilian council. As soon as he took the Hokage's seat, the questions started rolling in. Hokage-sama, why are Namikaze Nero's eyes now purple? There have been multiple rumors and questions surrounding the whole ordeal that many villagers want answered, Takahiro said. Sarutobi decided to tell the truth as to what was going on, despite the fact that Danzo was probably scheming some way to take Naruto from his power. Naruto used some of the Kyuubi's chakra, and it tainted his body. From what I know, there have been no adverse side effects. The civilian council started murmuring amongst themselves while Tsum Inazaka asked a question. Hokage-sama, are you going to allow Namikaze-san to continue using the Kyuubi's chakra? No. I ordered Naruto to not use the Kyuubi's chakra anymore until Jiraiya can take a look at the seal to make sure it's not weakening. This statement appeased all of the clan heads, but the civilian side's fears were not so easily assuaged. Hokage-sama, is it a good idea to allow Uchiha Sasuke to stay on the same team as Naruto? Naruto could be under the Kyuubi's influence for all we know? Sayuka Haruno asked. Uchiha Sasuke is like a brother to Naruto. While I can understand your fears, the way Minato designed the seal, the only way that the Kyuubi could take over Naruto would be at Naruto's own will, and I assure you that we would have known if the Kyuubi had taken over. Naruto was rather upset at me after I told him not to use the Kyuubi's chakra, and I noticed whenever he gets angry, he unconsciously taps into the Kyuubi's chakra. We should primarily focus on keeping both boys loyal to Konoha. As you are aware, I am not happy with the way Naruto was treated in his childhood, and I am thoroughly convinced that if Sasuke ever left Konoha, Naruto would follow him. The shinobi side of the council nodded their heads in agreement, but again the civilian side was not so easily appeased. Surely Naruto would not betray Konoha for one person. Misaki Miyu exclaimed. I am thoroughly convinced that Naruto would leave Konoha for Sasuke. The only other people that he seems to have a friendship with is the Ichiraka family and Hinata Hyuga, and if something were to happen to them and Sasuke left, there would be nothing left to keep Naruto loyal to Konoha, Hiruzen said. We should make sure that the Ichirakus never have a reason to leave Konoha, and I will continue to try and my daughter with all diligence, Hayashi said. At Hayashi's statement, everyone nodded. When Team 11 returns from their mission, I will contact Jiraiya and ask him to come back to Konoha and examine Naruto's seal, but until then, this meeting is adjourned. As Hiruzen exited the council room, he was very worried. I didn't realize how frightened the civilians were of Naruto. It will only get worse because people tend to hate things that they feared. Minato, I'm trying the best I can. T was about 9 in the morning. Teams 7 and 11 were only a few hours away from the Land of the Waves, and Naruto was thoroughly enjoying the mission thus far. He was currently listening to his PSV while carefully surveying the surrounding terrain. Due to his constant banter with the QB, he had learned to be a lot more perceptive of everything in life. He tried to think before he talked. He also tried to be more aware of his surroundings. He was also starting to figure out how to read people. The QB was also enjoying the mission. He rather enjoyed it when Naruto would listen to music. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. To take a stand, to take a stand. And everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together through the storm. Whatever weather, cold or warm. Just letting you know that you're not alone. Holla if you felt like you've been down the same road. The QB sang along with Eminem. Adele was the Fox's favorite, but he couldn't help but be moved by the rhymes that Eminem produced. Naruto was walking slightly ahead of the main group. Sakura and Riku were bringing up the rear, while Hana and Tizuna were talking. Sasuke wasn't listening to music, but he was in his own world anyway. He was trying desperately to figure out a way to improve his chakra control in a short amount of time, but he was currently stumped in his conundrum. Maybe I can work with Naruto after we arrive, the Avenger thought. So I was keeping pace with Sasuke, but he was only taking in his surroundings and not really focusing on much else. Naruto was blissfully unaware when he passed a puddle on the pathway, and due to the QB's relaxed state, he didn't really think much of it. Must have rained during the night, the demon thought lazily. Sasuke was much more alert, though, and immediately went on the defensive when he saw the puddle. It hadn't rained last night. Sasuke didn't get much sleep due to Sakura trying to get into his tent. It also hadn't rained for the past week. It could be a Jinjutsu. I should tell Hana-senpai and see what she thinks, Sasuke thought. He stopped walking for a second and silently pointed out the puddle to Sai. Sai nodded in understanding and took out his ninjutsu and appeared to be cleaning it. Sasuke started walking back towards Hana, but before he could reach her, the puddle exploded and 2 mist shinobi that were joined by a chain rushed at Sasuke's back. Further up the road, Naruto was alerted to the presence of the enemy ninja by the flaring of chakra used to dispel the Jinjutsu. He wiped his head back to the group behind him just in time to see Sasuke dodge an attack by 2 ninjas joined by a chain. Naruto immediately put away his PlayStation Vita and rushed towards Sasuke to help him out. Sasuke's developing ninja instincts told him to jump high. When he jumped right over the Demon Brothers' attack. Due to Sasuke's dodge, Meizu and Gozu lost their balance. Sasuke fell from the air with a drawn kunai, and just before he hit the ground, he threw the kunai with pinpoint accuracy to pin the brothers to a tree by the chain. Hana, Tizuna, Riku, and Sakura all watched the action from a distance. Hana decided that the boys seemed capable of handling themselves, and they could use the experience anyway. The force of the kunai thrown by Sasuke caused the 2 brothers to be thrown into a tree. That didn't stop them, however, for as soon as they hit the tree, they disconnected the chain between them and started rushing through hand signs. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sai were all neck and neck as they rushed the 2 brothers head-on. Naruto saw them speeding through hand signs, and he drew out an explosive kunai and threw it at the duo. Meizu and Gozu saw the kunai coming, but they decided to try to finish the jutsu. They finished their hand signs just as the kunai hit the tree behind them. Sudden, water wave. A wall of fire, not as big as Kakashi's wall, sprang from the 2 mist shinobi's mouth. If they had time to finish the jutsu, it could have caused severe damage to the trio. The effects of the jutsu were short-lived. Naruto's explosive kunai detonated in between them. Meizu was blown from the tree into the trees that were on the side of the path. He collided with another tree, but he didn't lose consciousness. Shit. This hurts, he thought. No doubt several of his ribs were broken. Gozu had the worst bet than his brother. He was blown from the tree, but he didn't make it to the other trees surrounding the path. He quickly got up just in time to see Shuriken and Kunai speeding towards him. He dodged the Kunai and Shuriken despite his injuries. However, he was unable to dodge when someone yelled out futon, wind slash. He looked behind him just in time to see a girl with a short sword give slashes at what appeared to be nothing. But it quickly became apparent what the jutsu was. Several slashes of air sped towards Gozu at breakneck speeds. He barely dodged the first one, but he was unable to dodge the other four that were sent his way. The slashes of air cut deep gashes on his body. The gashes were located on his torso and his legs. Unfortunately for Gozu, one of the slashes cut both of his femoral arteries. He started swearing at the Konoha ninjas as he collapsed in a pool of his own blood, and he bled out. Meizu saw his brother die, and his survival instincts kicked in. I need to get the hell out of here. He picked himself up from where he sat and ran as fast as his injured legs could carry him. Back in the clearing, Hana watched as Gozu bled out, but she quickly recalled that the other brother was blown into the trees. Sasuke, Naruto, go get the other ninja before he gets away, she commanded. The two boys nodded and sped off towards where Meizu was blown into the trees. Meizu was running limping through the forest floor in a desperate effort to get away from the ninjas that were on his tail. His breathing was labored, and he was sure that several of his ribs were broken, his right ankle hurt like hell, and his hearing was screwed up. Naruto and Sasuke's tracking skills were pretty good from tracking Tora constantly, and Meizu wasn't helping himself out by leaving a trail of blood wherever he ran. The two boys caught up to him rather quickly by jumping through the trees. Naruto flung two shuriken at Meizu, and they pinned him in the back of his knees. Meizu swore as he fell down, but he wasn't done yet. Under no circumstances was he going to spill any information of his mission. He discreetly drew out an explosive note and covered the sound of it being ignited by yelling out profanity. Won't he shut up? Sasuke thought as he and Naruto landed a few feet away from where Meizu lay. Naruto walked up to him cautiously, and as soon as he reached out to grab Meizu, kaboom! It was one of the strongest notes that Meizu had ever owned in his entire life. He had bought it when he graduated the academy. He saved it in a secret pouch and planned to detonate it if he was ever captured. Sasuke wasn't as close to Meizu as Naruto was, but due to the force of the blast, he was blown into a tree 10 feet behind him. He hit the tree with a crushing force, and he felt 3 of his ribs break. Naruto got the worst of the blast. He was blown into a tree 30 feet behind him. His eardrums were blown out, and his left leg was broken in 2 places. Naruto also suffered burns across all of his body. His black and orange jacket had been ripped to shreds by the blast, and his pants were charred, not to mention a broken collarbone, broken clavicle, and a few broken ribs. Back in the clearing, as soon as the note was triggered, Hana, Sakura, and Riku were all on high alert. Sakura, stay with Tazuna, Hana ordered. Sakura nodded her head, and when she looked at the bridge builder, she noticed all of the emotions playing across his face. The one most prevalent was shame. I wonder what's eating him. Hana, Sai, and Riku all rushed into the clearing created by the explosion. The first person they saw was Sasuke. He was in bad shape, but because he wasn't as close, he wasn't hurt as bad, but he had several broken ribs, and his eardrums were damaged, if not ruptured. Riku, do you know any medical jutsu? Hana asked as they examined Sasuke's unconscious body. No, Riku said. I do, Sai said with his weird smile. Good, look over Sasuke and see what injuries he has. We need to find Naruto, Hana said in her commanding tone. The one question she had on her mind was why the hell were missing mist ninjas here? Riku and Hana looked around the ruined clearing. Trees had been blown to bits and knocked over, and the earth had been ripped up. Hana used her enhanced smell, and they found Naruto pinned by a tree. Damn, Hana muttered as they pulled the tree off of Naruto. She looked over at Riku to see how she was handling the situation. Tears were streaming down her face as they looked at Naruto. His burns were already starting to heal, but that didn't make him look any better. I hope that fox can heal him, Hana thought. Sai, come over here and look over Naruto. I think he needs attention more than Sasuke, Hana ordered. Sai said as he stopped working on Sasuke. You can move Sasuke now. There's no risk of injuring him anymore. Let's go, Riku, Hana ordered, and the two they took Sasuke back to the pathway. In Naruto's mind, he woke up in the weird building again. Dang it. I hope the fox can heal me. He exited the room and walked down the familiar corridor. He came to the huge room that housed the QB, and he walked inside with absolutely no fear. As soon as he arrived in front of the cage, he immediately addressed the fox. Will you be able to heal me? The fox opened his eyes and looked at Naruto in a disappointed way. Yes, I can heal you, but you better be careful next time. Didn't it alarm you how much he was screaming? Ninja don't usually make that much noise unless it's for a reason. Sorry, I did notice that he was yelling rather loudly, but you really can't blame me. That was my first real combat experience. True. I take it that you learned your lesson? Naruto nodded his head. Good. Now you should go rest. Most of your injuries will heal in the next 24 hours, so until then, I need you to rest while I heal you. A minor side effect will be minor amnesia. Thanks, Naruto said gratefully. Do not thank me. If me healing you wasn't for our mutual benefit, I wouldn't give a second thought to letting you die. Naruto looked the fox dead in the eye. Magenta clashed against red for a brief moment. Then Naruto left his mind without another word. He woke up feeling rather comfortable. He didn't open his eyes at first, but when he did, he was greeted by the sight of Riku, sleeping next to his bed in a chair. Where am I? He got up quietly, so he didn't wake up anyone else up. He looked around the room and noticed in another corner Sasuke lay in a bed. His shirt had been taken off, and his whole midsection had been thoroughly wrapped in bandages. Sakura sat in a chair next to Sasuke's bed, and she was also asleep. What time is it? He looked down at his right arm, looking for his watch. He noticed that he wasn't wearing any shirt, and his watch was nowhere to be found. He took a few steps from the side of his bed, and an intense feeling of hunger swept over him. I need to eat. He walked out of the room that contained parts of a team. He absent-mindedly wondered where Sai and Hana were. He closed the door to the room. He just exited and walked down a hallway. He heard voices emulating from downstairs. As he walked down the hallway, he noticed how soft the carpet beneath his feet was. He arrived at the stairs and descended down them in slow steps. Naruto was sore all over. He had never been sore or stiff his entire life, so he was very unaccustomed to the stiffness he was now feeling. When he reached the bottom step, all of the voices stopped talking. He looked into the living room that was to his right and saw 5 people. He immediately recognized Sai, Hana, and Tizuna, but the other 2 people in the room were a mystery to him. And Naruto, what are you doing awake? Hana asked in a frightened tone. He should be asleep for another 2 days at least. Why wouldn't I be awake? Naruto asked obliviously. You don't remember what happened? Hana asked. No, I remember the ninjas attacking us. I remember one of them was killed by Riku, but after that everything goes black. At least he remembers the mission. Naruto, you remember Tizuna? Hana asked as she signaled to the old man. Naruto nodded his head, but before he could ask whom the other 2 people were, Hana answered his unasked question. She beckoned towards a pretty woman with black hair. This is Tsunami's, and this is the ANBU cat, Hana said while gesturing toward the other person in the room. I get a bad vibe from that cat guy, Naruto thought. Hello, Tsunami-san, cat senpai, Naruto said as he gave a respectful bow to the other people. Tsunami's gave a slight blush at the shirtless boy, but before she could say anything, Naruto asked a question. So what happened to me and Sasuke? After one of the demon brothers was killed by Riku, the other attempted to flee. So I sent you and Sasuke to capture him. You both caught up to him, but before you could capture him, he detonated an high explosive tag, which killed himself and gravely injured you and Sasuke. A he tag? I'm lucky to be alive. Naruto thought. He tags were only available to Jonin and ANBU in Konoha, but they were not as restricted in other villages. How long have I been out? Naruto asked in an emotionless voice. Only 1 day, Hana said. You had a broken leg and collarbone, ruptured eardrums, several broken ribs, and 3rd-degree burns across all of your body. Damn, Naruto muttered. I'll have to remember to thank the fox. How badly hurt is Sasuke? Naruto asked, his voice portraying emotion. He only had a few broken ribs, but he'll be fine in a couple weeks. You both should thank Sai. He stabilized your condition on the way here, Hannah stated. What happened after the explosion? Naruto asked. Flashback. Sai ran over to where Naruto lay in the destroyed trees. He noticed that his burns were already starting to heal. He ran a diagnosis jutsu on him, and paled even more when he learned Naruto's injuries. He didn't attempt to move him, but from his pack, he pulled out a small pill. The pill replenishes most of the fluids lost from burns. He took the pill and liquefied it using a fire jutsu. He caught the liquefied pill in a small beaker and took out a syringe. He drew the liquefied pill into the syringe. The liquid was really hot, and when he injected it into Naruto, the blonde boys gave a groan of pain. Sai then began to heal the injuries that he could while he waited for Riku and Hannah to return. When Hannah and Riku brought Sasuke back to Sakura and Tizuna, as soon as Hannah let go of Sasuke, she reached for Tizuna and lifted the old drunk by his collar. What the hell was that? Hannah bellowed at the poor man. We weren't supposed to encounter any enemy ninja. We aren't prepared to fight any opposing shinobi. Compared to most of her clansmen, Hannah was milder in spirit. She rarely spoke without thinking of the consequences, something her little brother hadn't mastered yet. However, whenever one of her comrades was injured or she became frustrated, she would fly off the handle, just like her mother. Tizuna admitted to himself that he probably deserved whatever punishment he given, but weren't ninja supposed to be on alert at all times? You'd better explain quickly, because Naruto is more injured than Sasuke, and I want a quick explanation. Hannah stated, the venom easily heard in her voice. The old man gave a sigh of defeat. You might want to send the girls to get Naruto. It's a long story. Hannah lowered the drunk and turned to Riku and Sakura. Go and assist Sai, and when he's ready to be moved, help him move Naruto. Aye, both girls said, and they ran back into the forest to help Sai. Hannah turned back to Tizuna, and her face immediately hardened. Spill it, she ordered. Tizuna told Hannah about Gato, how he was starving people, and how the bridge was the only way to stop the poverty. The part that really struck Hannah, though, was when Tizuna said that the combined money of the village had paid for the mission. The whole village could only pay for a low C-rank mission. Hannah thought. Part of her really wanted to help the old man out, but a third of her team had just been injured, and who knew what type of other ninja Gato had hired. While she was silently debating the situation, an ANBU dropped from the trees. Hello, Inuzuka-sen, the ANBU said with a slight bow. Oh, hello, Cat-san. Did the Hokage send you? Hannah asked curiously, why would an ANBU be sent without me requesting reinforcements? Yes, the ANBU lied. I was tasked with watching you from a distance, but not interfering in any way unless necessary. Hannah nodded her head in understanding. She looked over to the forest just in time to see the girls carrying Naruto's injured form. What is the extent of his injuries? Hannah asked. Naruto-san has several broken ribs, a broken foot and leg, other broken bones, and third-degree burns across his body, Sai started. Hello, Cat-san. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hello, Sai, the Umbu said in his deep voice. Riku looked over the ANBU, and a feeling of trepidation swept over her. He talks in that same weird way, just like Sai. You two know each other? Sakura asked. Yes. Cat-san has been a friend for a long time, Sai lied. Cat-san, do you think it would be wise to continue the mission? Hannah asked, looking for another opinion on the matter. I would be able to assist you in your efforts, and I'm sure that Namikaze-san will be fine in a couple days. I looked over everyone's hospital records before I left, and despite suffering several severe injuries in the past, he has never been in a hospital for more than 2 days. It would be very helpful to have an ANBU help out, but what about Sasuke? He won't heal as fast as Naruto, Hannah thought. Maybe Sai can give a medical jutsu to speed up his healing. We'll continue with the mission, but when the funds become available, I expect an A-rank mission to be paid in full, Hannah said to Tizuna. The old man nodded his head earnestly and began to thank them for helping out his nation. How far is it to your home? Hannah asked Tizuna. It's 2 miles, and we have to cross a river, but transport can be easily arranged. The Hannah nodded, and the group started back down the path towards Nami no Kuni. Cat brought up the rear of the group, and he sent a messenger bird back to the Hokage, Danzo. Sakura and Sai carried Sasuke, but Riku insisted on carrying Naruto by herself. They arrived at Tizuna's house around 3 in the afternoon. It was on the outskirts of town, so the group didn't get to see any of the poverty that plagued the land. The house was a modest 2-story house with 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The group walked up to the house, and Tizuna knocked on the door. "Tsunami's, I'm home," the builder said. They waited a minute until the door opened, and they were greeted by a pretty woman with black hair. "Is that his wife?" Sakura and Riku thought. "Hi, Dad," the dark-haired woman said as she gave Tizuna a hug. "Tsunamis, these are the ninja that came to help us out," Tizuna said as he gestured towards the group. "They're so young." Tsunamis thought. "Hello, and thank you for coming to help out the village," Sunmi said as she led them inside of the house. The house had a traditional Japanese layout, but it had a Western-style dining room table. As soon as everyone was across the threshold, Tsunamis immediately turned to Riku and Sakura. "The 2 boys can be put upstairs in the first bedroom on the right." Riku and Sakura nodded, and they took the boys upstairs. When they reached the bedroom, Riku immediately deposited Naruto on the nearest bed as softly as she could. She loved him with all her heart, but he could be pretty damn heavy. Sakura and Sai walked to the bed across the room and very gently put Sasuke on it. Sakura looked down at Sasuke's face. Her emotions were clearly playing across hers. She had tears streaming down her face. Her pink hair was a mess, and she had smudges of dirt all across her body. "Please get better, Sasuke-kun," she thought as she gently stroked his hair out of his face. Riku made Naruto as comfortable as possible. She noticed that most of his burns had already healed, and his broken leg looked like it had been set. She didn't know about the healing factor of the fox, so she thought it must be the Namake's bloodline. She gave him a quick kiss on his forehead and exited the room. Sakura saw that Riku gave Naruto a kiss, and she was considering doing the same thing, but Hinata likes him. What type of friend would I be if I kissed Sasuke? She decided against it. If she was going to kiss him, she would do it when he was awake. When Sakura arrived downstairs, Riku was in the kitchen helping Tsunamis prepare dinner. Hana and Tizuna were discussing a timetable for the completion of the bridge, but Sai and the ANBU were nowhere to be found. "Where did Sai go?" Sakura asked to no one in particular. "He and Kat went to the bridge to check it out," Hana said. Sakura then just sat down and waited for dinner. She was exhausted, but she would stay by her Sasuke-kun through the night. With Sai. Sai and the ANBU were walking on the bridge while conversing. "So you were sent by Danzo-sama to keep an eye on Naruto?" "Yes," the ANBU responded. "I wasn't supposed to interfere unless absolutely necessary. I weighed the risk and benefits, and decided that Danzo-sama would be angrier with me if Namikaze-san and Uchiha-san were killed," the ANBU said. ANBU Cat had trained Sai when he was in the route. Sai wasn't officially in Danzo's books in the route anymore, but he still took orders from Danzo. The 2 were walking along when an unnaturally thick mist settled on the bridge. "That's odd. Mist usually doesn't form in the evening," Cat thought. The 2 started walking back to the house when an intense killer intent radiated from somewhere in the mist. The duo quickened their pace to get out of the mist and back to the house. Cat and Sai didn't speak about anything that happened on the bridge during dinner. Cat didn't eat his food. He ate outside where no one could see his face. The group at the table discussed everything from everyone's personal lives to the mission and the bridge. Flashback end. "All of that took place yesterday," Hannah said. "Are you healed enough to help protect Tizuna today?" "Yeah, I'm just a little sore," Naruto said. "I'll do a little stretching." "Oh, and is there a shirt I could borrow?" Naruto asked while scratching his head sheepishly. Tsunamis and Hana both blushed when they looked at his naked torso. "I don't think I have anything that would fit you," Tsunami said while blushing. "Oh, I'll just steal one of Sasuke's," Naruto said with a small laugh. He then went back upstairs into the room, just in time to see Riku waking up. She yawned and stretched. Naruto gave a small blush when she stretched. She gave a small eep and gave Naruto a bone-crushing hug. "You baka, why'd you get yourself blown up?" Riku asked when she let go of him. "I didn't mean to," Naruto said while scratching his head. "How was I supposed to know he hadn't heat tag primed to explode?" Riku visibly paled when she heard he's lucky to be alive. She gave him another hug and even a kiss on his cheek. Well, next time be more careful, she said into his ear. Naruto gave another blush when she let go, and he started looking through Sasuke's stuff for a shirt. Are you going to help us protect Tazuna today? Riku asked while he was searching for a shirt. She hoped he would stay behind and rest longer. Yeah, we're actually leaving in a couple minutes, Naruto said. He forgot to pack a spare shirt too? Naruto said in an exasperated tone. I like the view without a shirt, Riku said in a teasing tone. I bet you do, Naruto said in a slightly irritated tone. The only other shirt he had was a black t-shirt, but that would offer no protection, and it wouldn't keep him warm on the chilly morning. He reached into his bag and put it on. Naruto was now wearing all black. He had on a black t-shirt and black cargo pants. While he was getting ready, he had one thought on his mind. How the heck did I pack a spare pants, but not a shirt? Riku and Naruto exited the room a second later, and when they arrived downstairs, Tazuna and Hana were waiting for them. Where's Sai? Naruto asked. He and Kat already left for the bridge, Hana answered. Let's go. While they were walking towards the bridge, Naruto and Riku brought up the rear, and they were conversing between themselves. Hana was asking Tazuna some questions. Have there been any attempts on your life? No, I've had several threats, but nothing else. Okay, how long does the bridge have till completion? Only a couple days, but I think God'll try to waste me before I finish. Hana nodded in understanding. We'll do everything in our power to protect you. Tazuna thanked her, and when they arrived at the bridge, a man walked up to Tazuna. The man was dressed in nothing more than rags. His ribs were clearly visible. His sandy blonde hair was very dirty, and he walked with a small limp. Tazuna, I've been doing some thinking. I don't think I should continue helping build the bridge. Daisuke, Tazuna pleaded with the man. I've hired some ninja to protect us. We only have 3 days till completion. Gado's men came to my house last night. They said if I don't stop, they'll rape my wife and sell my kid to slavers, Daisuke stated. I'm sorry, but I have to look after my family, Daisuke said as he walked away. Damn it, he was my best worker, Tazuna said to no one in particular. I'll help you out, Naruto said. And just before Riku and Hana could ask him what he was going to do, he used the familiar hand signs and spawned 3 shadow clones. Turning to the clone, Naruto said, Listen to Tazuna. Help him out in any way possible. Hi, all the clones said, and they walked up to Tazuna. The clones will do whatever you tell them to, Naruto told the drunk. Tazuna thanked Naruto, and with the company of the clones, he started working on the bridge. Nothing much happened for the first couple hours. There were only 10 men beside from Tazuna, Hana, Sai, Kat, Riku, and Naruto. Naruto's shadow clones helped Tazuna out a lot, and they could get to many places that normal men couldn't. When lunchtime rolled around, most of the workers went back to the village to find some lunch. Tsunamis had packed in a basket, and they all sat down and started to eat. So how much longer? Riku asked. Tazuna finished chewing on a sandwich before answering, about 5 days, give or take one. I thought you said that there's only a few days till completion, Naruto said in an accusing tone. Hee, I said that because I wanted you guys to help me out, Tazuna said nervously. You have no idea how much this bridge means to these people, Tazuna said. Gado has taken everything away from the wave, and with this bridge, I could do my part to help things get back to normal. Tazuna sighed with has personally raped many women that I knew before he killed them. He has personally killed many men, including my surrogate son. If you come across the chance to kill that man, please make him suffer, Tazuna said quietly. After lunch, and before the men came back to work, Sai excused himself to start healing Sasuke. The Uchiha wouldn't be fully healed by the end of the mission, but he would be combat ready, and that was a huge improvement. After Sai left, an unnaturally thick mist settled on the bridge. It's the mist from yesterday. The AMBU thought, everyone get into battle formation. The AMBU ordered. He was a Jonin in rank, so he was the commanding officer on the mission. Naruto, Kat, and Hana to up a defensive formation, and Riku was forced to stand by Tazuna. Kat-senpai, do you know what this mist is? Naruto asked. No, but if my hunch is correct, we could be in for a serious fight. 2 Genin, a Chunin, and ANBU, this will be interesting, a voice from inside the mist. Nothing happened for about a minute. Anxiety could be clearly seen on Riku's face. Naruto controlled his facial expression a little better, but upon closer inspection, you could also see he was nervous. After about a second, a huge wave of killer intent blasted the area where the group stood. Tazuna fainted from the killer intent. Naruto and Riku were deathly pale. Rika looked like she wanted to run, and Naruto's hand was slowly slinking its way to his kunai pouch. "Don't worry, comrades. No one is dying today, except our enemy," Kat said in the most comforting voice a member of Root could muster. The small vocal assurance was all that Naruto and Rika needed. "Use some of my killer intent." Naruto momentarily blinked in surprise. The fox hadn't talked to him since he was injured. "How?" "Just use some of your own, and you will automatically access mine." Naruto gave a slight nod to no one in particular and flared his own ki in response. It was rather impressive for a genin, but after a millisecond, its potency increased tenfold. Zabuza was only 20 feet from the group. He could not be seen throughout the mist. He had been throwing his voice to make him sound like he was somewhere else. Because he was so close to the group, the full blast of killer intent hit him head-on. Zabuza made a grave error. He underestimated his opponent. The strong ki was too much for even him, and he had to drop down to one knee or pass out from the flood. The sound of Zabuza's knee hitting the ground was all that Kat needed. He took off into the mist without saying anything to the group. They couldn't see where he went because of the thick mist. They couldn't even see 5 feet in front of them. Two questions were going through Hannah's mind right now. Where did Kat go? How does Naruto have so much ki? A few grunts, and the sound of clashing metal could be heard through the mist. Naruto grew tired of not being able to see anything, and he sped through some hand signs. Futon, Wind Flood. This jutsu was basically an enhanced version of Wind Stream, but it was a lot stronger. A constant stream of wind erupted from Naruto's mouth. He spun around to try and disperse the mist. When the mist surrounding him, he looked up over to his right and saw Kat and a ninja with a really big sword trading blows. Kat had managed to evade the executioner's blade thus far, and now that the mist had been blown away, he could see a whole lot better. "Riku, get Tazuna off the bridge," Hannah ordered. "Naruto, that's Zabuza Momochi. He was a member of the Swordsmen of the Mist before he went rogue. Be careful." "Aye," Naruto said as he drew a kunai and got ready to fight. Hannah and Naruto waited for an opportunity to enter the battle, and the opportunity presented itself when Kat had to jump back from Zabuza. Hannah immediately charged in when she saw the opening. Naruto threw his kunai at Zabuza, hoping to distract him while Hannah made her approach. Zabuza deflected the kunai effortlessly with his blade, and when Hannah arrived, he immediately struck out to counter Hannah. Hannah had to use every ounce of her flexibility to get out of the way of the huge sword. She dodged to the right and quickly drew a kunai and tried to stab Zabuza by getting under his defense. Hannah didn't realize how fast Zabuza was, however, and she narrowly avoided getting decapitated by Zabuza. Zabuza immediately went on the offensive. He gave a horizontal slash that Hannah had to jump back from. He then gave a vertical slash that started from his feet and went higher than his head. Hannah wasn't fast enough to get away from the slash, but Naruto saw her in trouble and countered. Futon, repeating wind bullet. Zabuza was forced to stop his slash and block the incoming bullets of air. While he was blocking, Kat also ran through some had signs. Katan, Phoenix Fire Jutsu. Naruto wasn't surprised that Kat used fire. It was the most common element in Konoha. Kat seemed to have really good control of his element, however, because the fireballs that he released were huge. I would expect nothing less from Konoha ANBU. Why would you say that? Naruto asked while he watched Hannah, Kat, and Zabuza fought. Naruto knew he was outclassed in the fight without the Kyuubi chakra. Konoha has the least active shinobi of all of the 5 great villages. Konoha has won every war it has been in thus far, however. In other villages, quantity is given a higher value than quality, and as thus Konoha has stricter measures for shinobi. To be an ANBU in Konoha, you have to be a jonin and undergo a fierce psychological and physical evaluation. Wow, Naruto thought. Hannah had suffered a shallow slash to her abdomen. It didn't bleed much, but it hurt like hell. Kat was doing fairly well. He still had a lot of chakra, and he was making headway against Zabuza. Zabuza was getting winded from holding off the two ninja, but he wasn't called the Demon of the Mist for nothing. He jumped over a leg sweep from Hana. He brought his elbow down, trying to elbow Hana in her head. Hana blocked the elbow with her hand, but because Zabuza had jumped into the air, all of his weight was on her arms. She wasn't prepared for the sudden weight that was put on her arms, and they buckled. Zabuza rolled over as he fell towards the ground. He quickly regained his feet and slashed out as Hana tried to regain her footing. She wasn't fast enough, and she suffered a slash from her right arm to her left thigh. Hana groaned in pain as she started bleeding. She jumped back from Zabuza and thanked Kami that Kat held the Zabuza back. She landed next to Naruto and fell down. "Are you all right?" Naruto asked in a slightly panicked voice. "Do iluk okbaka." Hana snapped at him. "Go help Kat while I try to stop the bleeding," Hana ordered. Naruto knew there wasn't much he could do, but he did best anyway. Naruto did familiar hand signs as he rushed towards Zabuza. 20 Narutos descended on the swordsman while he was busy with Kat. Zabuza could hold off Kat pretty well, but 20 more people added into the mix could be potentially problematic. Naruto stayed back from the melee with another clone and watched as Zabuza threw Kat away again and decimated his clones. Well, here goes nothing, Naruto thought. He timed it perfectly. As soon as the final shadow clone was about to be dispersed, Naruto drew out an explosive kunai and hinged into a very large shuriken. His clone picked him up and flung him at Zabuza. He's pretty straightforward, Zabuza thought. Kat was making his way back to the battle. Zabuza merely sidestepped the shuriken and charged at the clone he thought was Naruto. As soon as he passed Zabuza, Naruto released the hinge, pivoted in midair, and flung the explosive kunai at Zabuza. Zabuza's sixth sense was the only thing Theta temporarily saved him. He dodged to the left, and the kunai whizzed right past his arm. He realized late, however, that there was an explosive note attached to it. He put his arms up to defend himself just as the kunai exploded. The missing mist Nin was blown backwards and skidded across the bridge. He was dazed but left unhurt for the most part. His ears would probably need healing after the battle. Naruto didn't give Zabuza time to recover. He rushed at him with his last kunai. Naruto jumped in the air and gave a downward strike that Zabuza dodged. Zabuza tried to counter, but he was hit in the back by something really hot. Kat smirked under his mask when he saw Zabuza get hit by his fireball. He had to give it to the kid. That was a pretty ingenious move. Zabuza was blown forwards by the fireball, and he saw Naruto waiting for him. Naruto stabbed Zabuza with his kunai right in the chest. Arg! Zabuza groaned as he was stabbed. He looked up just in time to see Naruto brining his hand down to stab him again. Zabuza shifted his feet and took out the smaller boy's legs. Zabuza was bleeding pretty badly. He tried to finish off Naruto while they were both on the ground. Naruto kept dodging his slashes with a big blade. Zabuza was starting to feel very faint. It had only been a minute or so, but whatever the blonde kid stabbed, it had a lot of blood. Zabuza stabbed at Naruto, but much to his dismay, Naruto just exploded in a puff of smoke. Zabuza looked back to where the real Naruto stood and inwardly groaned when he saw the boy flashing through hand signs, futon. Wind bullet jutsu. Wind bullet and repeating wind bullet were slightly different. Repeating wind bullet released a repeating stream of smaller bursts of air, but wind bullet released 2 large bursts of air. Wind bullet was used primarily on large groups of opponents or immobile enemies. Zabuza was hit head-on by the blast. He felt his ribs crack from the pressure. He was blown back off the bridge and into the woods on either side of the bridge. He looked up and saw the blonde kind and the ENBU running towards him. But before they arrived, everything went black. From Naruto's point of view, it looked like the Sunbond needles appeared in Zabuza's neck. Kat and Hana saw them coming, but they were not in a position to do anything about it. The needles hit Zabuza's neck with a sharp piercing sound, and as soon as they hit his neck, Zabuza died. After a moment of silence, Hunter Nin dropped from the trees. "Thank you for weakening Zabuza. I have been tracking him for many weeks, but have been unable to apprehend him." Is it a guy or a girl? Naruto thought. The Hunter Nin went over and grabbed Zabuza's arm, but before he could get away, Kat spoke up. Don't hunter neens dispose of the body as soon as the kill is made? Hunter neens from Kirigakura no Sato have adopted a new policy in which the bodies of missing neen are brought back to the village to be confirmed before disposal, Haku lied. As you know, the mist is in a civil war, and it would be no surprise if an announcement to the other villages was not made. All Cat could do was nod, as Haku disappeared in a swirl of leaves. That all seemed rather fishy, the QB mused. I know. Do you think we'll come across Zabuza again? Yeah, probably. We could do some training to prepare for when they do come back. Naruto and Kat started walking back towards where Hana stood. The slashes across her body were still bleeding, but not as much as they were before. Riku and Tazuna had come back onto the bridge after the battle had finished. Riku was giving Hana some first aid, while Tazuna was having a drink to calm his nerves. When Naruto and Kat joined back up, all attention turned to them. What do you think is going to happen now, Kat-senpai? Riku asked as she finished tending to Hana. I don't know, Kat said in his emotionless voice. I would suggest you gin and train in your spare time until the bridge is completed. I have no doubt Gato will try to attack the bridge again. Riku and Naruto nodded. Let's get back to the house. Tsunami should have some stuff to help out with the bleeding, Tazuna said. The group walked back toward the house. They walked at a slightly slower pace so that Hana could keep up. Although Riku and Naruto offered her a helping hand, she kindly declined, saying that she could manage on her own. Hey Naruto, you want to spar when we get back? Riku asked. Sure, but I want to talk to Sasuke first, Naruto said. Oh, okay, Riku responded. When they arrived back at the house, Tsunami immediately led Hana to the couch, where she and Riku finished wrapping her cuts. Excuse me, Tsunami-san, is Sasuke awake? Naruto asked while Tsunami's finished putting on the final bandage. Yes, he's awake, but resting. Naruto thanked her and walked up the stairs to the room that Sasuke was in. He stepped into the room and saw Sakura fussing over Sasuke, while Sasuke was trying to play his Vita. You should really be resting right now, Sasuke-kun, Sakura said. I'm resting, Sasuke said in an annoyed voice while not looking up from his device. Why do you and Naruto insist on playing those dumb games? Sakura said in an equally annoyed tone. Why are boys so stubborn? Naruto knew that Sasuke didn't like people insulting his favorite pastime, and given the physical state of his body, he also probably had a short temper. Sakura, do you mind if I talk to Sasuke? Naruto said, interrupting the impending argument. Yes, but don't keep him up too long. Sasuke needs to sleep, Sakura said as she walked out of the room. As soon as Sakura disappeared through the doorway, Sasuke gave her the middle finger while not looking up from his game. Naruto chuckled as he sat down next to Sasuke. So what have you been up to today? Been trying to get some gaming in, but between Tsunami and Sakura, I haven't had a lot of time, Sasuke said as he turned off his PSV. Naruto slowly nodded in understanding. What about you? Sasuke asked him. Zabuza attacked us on the bridge today, Naruto said as he slouched down in the chair. Who? Sasuke asked. Zabuza. He was some swordsman from Kiri. He was pretty strong, but we beat him, Naruto said as he lounged in the chair. Did you guys kill him? I don't know. We injured him, but a hunter Nin came and took him away. Okay, but why don't you think you killed him? Sasuke asked, not really understanding what Naruto was saying. Kat-senpai said that Hunter Nin dispose of the body as soon as the kill is made. Okay, Sasuke said. Tonight, do you think we could go train? Sasuke asked in a hushed tone. Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto said in an appalled voice. Do you think you'll manage? He finished in an equally hushed tone. Yeah, I'll be fine. I only really want to work on chakra control, but I need to get a rubber ball, Sasuke said. Is that for the big ball? Naruto said in the same hushed voice. Sasuke nodded in confirmation. We could go into town and see if we could buy one, the Avengers said. I told Riku I would spar with her today, so we could go afterwards, Naruto stated. Cool, Sasuke said in a disinterested tone. You know she's got a crush on you. I heard her and Sakura talking about it, Sasuke said. You know, I couldn't tell, Naruto said in a sarcastic tone. Jerk, Sasuke muttered. What about you and Hinata? Naruto said in a teasing voice. Sasuke's demeanor changed rather quickly. He went from having a carefree attitude to a determined one. What about me and Hinata? Sasuke asked in a slightly testy tone. Chill out, man, Naruto said as he waved his hand in a placating manner. Seriously, though, if you're gonna make a move, you gotta make one quickly. She's the freaking heiress after all, and she must have suitors lining up for a chance to have her hand in marriage. I know, Sasuke said. I'll talk to her after the mission. You've been saying that since before we graduated, Naruto said with a smirk. Well, this time I actually have the courage, Sasuke said in an argumentative tone. If only I had a Rio for every time I... Naruto began. Shut up and go spar, you bastard, Sasuke said in a fake, angrily loud voice, as he started throwing all sorts of stuff at Naruto. See you later, Sasuke-chan, Naruto said as he ran out of the room, dodging the crap that Sasuke was throwing at him. When he arrived downstairs, it appeared as if Sakura was waiting for him. What did you do to Sasuke-kun? She asked in that commanding voice. I was only having some fun with Sasuke-chan. Don't worry, though. He's resting, Naruto said. His answer seemed to appease Sakura, not that he cared, and he proceeded into the living room. Hana was taking a nap on the couch. Tazuna was going over some blueprints. Sai and Kat were nowhere to be found. He peered into the kitchen and saw Tsunami making dinner. Hello, Naruto, she said when she saw him looking in the kitchen. Hello, Tsunami-san. Do you know where Riku is? Naruto asked. Riku is outside at the back of the house, Tsunami said while chopping some onions. Naruto thanked her and proceeded to walk out of the house in search of Riku. When he walked outside, he took a look at all of the scenery or a lack of scenery around him. There's a vegetable garden that looked like the vegetables had some sort of disease. There was little to no grass in the front or back of the house. The house itself was still in prime condition, no doubt because Tazuna was a builder. In the back of the house, about 50 feet behind the house, the edge of a forest started and swept back for an unknown distance. At the edge of the clearing, Riku sat in a meditative pose. When she heard Naruto approach, Riku beamed at him when she looked up. Ready to get your butt kicked? Riku asked in a teasing manner. You wish, Naruto responded cheekily. Before we fight, Riku started, I have to know if you were injured in any way during the fight with Zabuza. I only used some chakra, but beside that I'm fine, Naruto answered. So what are the rules of our little spar? We can use jutsu, but nothing too serious or dangerous, Riku stated. She held up her arm for Naruto to help her up, and when they were up, they walked into the forest to find a clearing. While they were walking, Naruto asked Riku a question. Have you ever been to Suna? She didn't miss her stride and answered, I went a few times when I was younger, but I haven't gone in a while. When she had finished answering, Riku asked Naruto a question. What is your ultimate goal in being a shinobi? Naruto actually stopped walking when he heard the question. What is my ultimate goal? I don't really know. I always wanted to be Hokage, but there are some things I have to do before then. The Kyuubi gave a snort in agreement. I want to protect Konoha from its enemies, whether they're outside its walls or inside. I'm not sure if you realize, but the leaf is very corrupted, and I wanted to do something about it. Riku looked over at Naruto. He had started walking again, and she was pondering his answer. What are the things that you have to take care of? I can't tell, was Naruto's curt reply. Oh, I didn't mean to pry, Riku said. It's okay. I will probably have to tell you some of the things in the next couple years, but until then, I see no reason to make any of my comrades worry. Riku nodded in understanding, and they entered a clearing. Naruto went to the far side of the clearing and took up a tiger stance. Taijutsu and Jinjutsu were things he was rather lacking in, but he made up for it with strong ninjutsu and his accuracy with a kunai. Riku remained where she stood. She excelled in taijutsu. She was also rather proficient with Jinjutsu, but her main strength was Kinjutsu. Naruto pulled out a kunai and waited for Riku to make the first move. He had tied Sasuke for Rookie of the Year. When their final grade were made known, it was decided that the boys would spar to see who was roadie. Naruto and Sasuke refused to spar. They were quite content being tied for first. Riku, on the other hand, had been a genin for a year. She was a year older than Naruto. She was very competitive, and she hated losing to anybody. She had already been on a few C-rank missions. She had her share of near-death experiences. She had promised Manami and her sensei that she would get stronger. When her and Manami's teammate died, it had left her in a mess. Kinshiro was like an older brother to her, and when he died, she really questioned if she wanted to remain a ninja. She locked herself in her room for a week, and after she emerged, she was more determined than ever before to be strong. Rika settled into her Kinjutsu stance with her ninja drawn, waiting to see what Naruto would do. They waited for 30 seconds before simultaneously charging at one another. Riku charged at Naruto with her sword held at her side. When the blonde came in range, the brunette gave a fierce horizontal slash. Naruto blocked the horizontal and narrowly dodged the vertical slash that Riku sent his way. He jumped back from the black-haired girl, but Riku didn't give him any chance to rest. She pressed the attack and sent slash after slash his way. Naruto blocked and dodged most of the strikes. A few got him on his torso, but they were light cuts, and they healed quickly. I can't keep fighting like this, Naruto thought. He ducked under a slash that could have decapitated him, and he got a free shot of Riku's ribs. When his fist connected with her rib, Naruto poured chakra into his legs and jumped into one of the trees surrounding the clearing. Damn it! He got away. Rika thought she saw which tree he had landed in, but at this range, she was at a disadvantage. I need to even the playing field. Rika mused. She started speeding through hand signs. Naruto saw the hand signs and immediately recalled them. Oh crap. Futon, wind/jutsu. Riku gave several long slashes at the air, and where her blade had been seconds before, long slashes in the air appeared and sped towards where Naruto hid. He barely had time to jump out of the tree before it was pulverized into oblivion. Naruto had to keep jumping because Riku kept slashing at the air. It appeared that Riku could keep the jutsu up for an undisclosed amount of time. He landed on a tree branch, and before Riku could send a slash his way, Naruto sped through the familiar hand signs. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He created 20 clones and had 5 of them charge at Riku, while the others waited for their orders. Riku was about to send another slash at the tree she heard Naruto land in, but after a few weird sounds, 5 identical copies of Naruto burst from the trees. 2 of them were slinging kunai and shuriken at her, while one of them was holding back, and the 2 others charged head-on. She deflected all of the kunai and jumped into the air. She came down on one of the clones. The clone was not prepared for the sudden weight put on it, so it fell to the ground with Riku on top of it. Riku quickly rolled off of the clone, and before it could get its footing back under itself, Riku swept its feet out and mercilessly stabbed it in the chest. Naruto watched slaughter of his clones in the clearing and visibly paled. Remind me never to make her mad. Agreed, the QB said stoically. After she dispelled the first clone, Riku turned to the second one that had a kunai drawn. She noticed that the 2 that had flung kunai at her were also charging her, but the one in the back was hanging back. The clone with the kunai waited till his comrades joined him to charge. She sheathed her sword and sped through some hand signs. Futon, windstorm. From her hands, fierce winds erupted. The winds basically destroyed everything in her path. 2 of the clones had enough time to get out of the way, but the third was not as fortunate. When the wind had destroyed the clone, it continued on to where Naruto hid in the tree. Crap, he yelled as her jumped out of the tree into the clearing. He looked behind him and watched in morbid fascination as the tree he was in only seconds before was turned into mulch. Now that he was in the clearing, Naruto decided it was time to finish the spar. He sent his 2 clones forward. The ones that stayed behind were killed in Riku's jutsu, but Naruto held back with his other clone. Riku was getting rather tired, and between the wind slash and the windstorm she had used a lot of chakra. I need to finish this. She drew her ninjutsu and charged at the 2 clones charging her. She sent a diagonal slash at the first one. It had to block it with a kunai. She then pivoted very rapidly and caught the other clone off guard. She stabbed with her blade, dispersing the clone, and then she pivoted again and gave a vertical slash with her sword. The clone dodged to the right and lunged at Riku, trying to stab her. The clone had left itself open to an attack, and as soon as Riku dodged his desperate lunge, it was already over. Riku effortlessly dispelled the clone and turned to face Naruto and the other clone. She resumed her Kenjutsu post and waited. Naruto started going through hand signs, and the clone to his right charged Riku. When will he learn? Riku thought as she intercepted the clone. She was mindful that Naruto was speeding through hand signs, but there wasn't much she could do about that. She charged at the clone and swung her sword, trying to disperse it quickly. The clone dodged the attack and tried to sweep the legs out from under Riku. The brunette jumped over the leg sweep and tried to do a downward slash on the clone as she descended from her jump. In the blink of an eye, the clone drew a kunai and blocked Riku's attack. The clone actually pushed Riku back, and because she put all of her weight into the attack, she was pushed off balance. In a last-ditch effort to dispel the clone, Riku grabbed onto his arm as she fell, dragging the clone down with her and ran him through with her sword. She picked herself up from the fall and faced Naruto. Naruto had his jutsu ready, but he was waiting till the clone was dispelled before he used it. Futon, Wind Bullet Jutsu. 5 big bursts of air erupted from Naruto's mouth and sped towards Riku. The brunette slashed through the first 3 bullets of air and was nearly overwhelmed by the others. She had a split-second chance to dodge the 2 remaining bullets, and after they had crashed into a tree behind her, she charged at Naruto. Naruto threw kunai at Riku as she dodged. He threw them in a pattern that forced Riku to flank him from his left, and he was a lefty. When she was in range, Naruto kicked out with his left foot, forcing Riku to dodge to the right. He then gave a right jab at her head that she ducked under, but before she could counter, Naruto pivoted and kicked her hard in the ribs with his left foot. She skidded across the ground. She didn't make any grimacing sounds, but you could tell by her facial expressions that she was in pain. Her ribs weren't broken, but they were definitely bruised. Riku held up her hand and said, "I yield." Naruto looked at her for a second to see if she was lying. Seeing his skepticism, Riku continued, "I don't think it would be smart to continue sparring. At this point in the mission, we can't afford to have any more injuries." "Okay," Naruto said. "Did I break anything with that kick?" "No," Riku said with a grimace. "You sure as hell bruised something, though." "Sorry about that," Naruto said as he rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. "Thanks for the spar, though. I rather enjoyed it," Riku said as they exited the clearing and started walking back towards the house. "If we continued, who would have won?" Naruto asked with a smirk. "I'm pretty sure I would have won," he said. Riku looked at him with a smirk of her own. "If we continued, I would have kicked your butt." "Yeah, okay, whatever. I could have broken your ribs with that kick." "But you didn't, and I had some pretty sick stuff planned for you," Riku said. "Right," Naruto said in a disbelieving tone. "You were running low on chakra, and I had barely used any." It was at that moment that Riku decided to trip and hurt her ankle. "Dang it," she yelled as she fell down. Naruto rolled his eyes in response. "Naruto-kun, could you help me up? I think I twisted my ankle," Riku asked in an overly sweet voice. Instead of giving her the satisfaction of carrying her back to the house, Naruto created a shadow clone and had it put up Riku bridal style. While the clone was walking towards her, Riku covertly drew out a kunai. When the clone was in the process of picking her up, she stabbed it in the arm, dispersing it in the process. She rolled over to look at Naruto with a smug look. "I'll disperse every clone you send my way, so why don't you pick me up yourself?" Riku asked in a seductive voice. Naruto just rolled his eyes and said, "I could knock you unconscious, then have my clones carry you. You wouldn't harm an injured and defenseless girl, would you?" Riku asked in a fake appalled voice. "I doubt you're defenseless, Riku," Naruto said. "Can't you just pick me up?" Riku said in an exasperated tone. "Why should I?" Naruto asked smugly. "For me to carry you, you have to say that I won the spar." Riku hated to lose, no matter what the situation, but she could stomach this loss because she would get something out of it. "Naruto-kun, you won the spar," Riku stated. She had to hold down the bile that tried to get free from saying that statement. Naruto smugly nodded his head, and he kept the smug look on his face when he picked Riku up. Riku was blushing as she was being picked up. The only thing that could make this moment perfect was if Naruto didn't have that dumb smug look on his face. To annoy Naruto to the fullest extent, Riku snuggled into his chest and let out a contented sigh. Naruto rolled his eyes again as they walked back towards the house. The sight of Naruto carrying Riku caused several different reactions from the inhabitants of the house. Tazuna took one look at Riku, saw her contented smile despite the fact she was hurt. Then he looked at Naruto sympathetically. Poor kid doesn't stand a chance. Tsunami saw the duo and gave Riku a covert thumbs up when Riku winked at her. Sakura looked at the duo with jealousy clearly evident on her face. I wish Sasuke-kun would carry me. Hana saw Naruto carrying her and decided to tease the teens. I didn't realize the spar would get so physical. Both teens blushed at Hana's statement, but neither of them said anything. Naruto walked over to the nearest chair and abruptly deposited Riku in it. "Ow, you don't have to be so rough," Riku whined. "Oh, sorry, I didn't want to hurt your ankle," Naruto quipped. Riku didn't say anything. All she did was give him a fake glare. Naruto turned back to Tsunami, and he noticed the amused smile on her face. "Excuse me, Tsunami-san, is Sasuke upstairs?" Naruto asked. "Yes, don't spend much time up there, though. He needs to rest," Tsunami said sternly. Naruto thanked her and ran upstairs. When he neared the room that Sasuke was in, he heard some frantic scurrying. He paused in the doorway and watched as Sasuke slept in his bed. "You know, for being a ninja, your stealth sucks," Naruto said as he walked into the room. "Oh, it's you," Sasuke said in a relieved tone. "I thought you were Sakura. Between Sakura and Tsunami, I can barely go to the bathroom without being watched." Naruto gave a laugh at his friend's conundrum. "At least you can play video games, right?" Naruto asked, trying to make light of the situation. "They won't even let me play my Vita," Sasuke said incredulously. When Tsunami walked in and saw me playing it, she gave me a glare that made my crawl. I thought she was going to break my PSV. "Damn, dude, that's rough," Naruto muttered. "So how are we going to get out of the house?" Sasuke asked in a low voice, his sense of adventure tingling. Naruto gave a mischievous smile and leaned in closer to Sasuke. "I was working on this plan." Downstairs, Riku and Sakura were talking about how Riku had gotten Naruto to carry her. Tsunami was watching TV while waiting for dinner to finish baking. Hana was resting on the couch while Tazuna was going over some blueprints with a bottle of sake. Everyone was consumed in their activities that they almost missed Naruto walking out of the house. "Hey Naruto, where are you going?" Sakura asked. "Crap," Naruto thought as he turned around to answer Sakura's question. "I'm going to go meditate," Naruto lied. "It helps with the QB," Naruto said when he saw the females giving him a disbelieving look. When he mentioned the QB, everyone stopped questioning him. "I'll be back for dinner," Naruto said as he exited the house. As soon as he was outside the door, he created a shadow clone and ordered it to sit down with its eyes closed by the edge of the clearing. Naruto then jumped into the trees as quickly as he could, and when he was in the tree, he took out a scroll and wiped some blood on it. "I hope this works." When he wiped the blood on it, Sasuke popped it out. Naruto gave a sigh of relief when he saw his friend. "To be honest, I wasn't sure that would work," Naruto said. Sasuke had his back to him, but when he heard Naruto's comment, he turned to look at him with a fierce glare. "What don't you mean you didn't think it would work?" Sasuke said in a menacing, loud voice. "Settle down," Naruto said while waving his hand in a placating manner. "It worked, right? It's not healthy to dwell on what-ifs." "I oughta throttle you," Sasuke said as they started jumping through the trees on the way towards town. "So Riku-chan, how did you get Naruto to carry you?" Sakura asked. "Oh, that was just my seductive skill," Riku said nonchalantly. "I'd be careful if you tried to Sasuke. He's not as nice as Naruto is." "Yes, he is," Sakura said, defending her crush. Riku, who was sitting at the table across from Sakura, looked her in the eye. "Sakura, if you really think that Sasuke is nicer than Naruto, you are a biased fangirl. If you want Sasuke to notice you, you have to differentiate yourself from all the other girls." "How would I do that?" Sakura asked her older sister figure. "Well, from my experiences, most fangirls are relatively weak. I think the best way to get his attention would be getting stronger." Sakura was about to protest, but Riku cut her off. "If Sasuke wanted a girly girl, he has a whole village to choose from." The only person from your graduating class that trains really hard is the Hyuga girl. And from what you've told me, Sasuke, Naruto-kun, and the Hyuga are very close friends. Sakura slightly paled when Riku mentioned Hinata. I never came close to beating her in any spars. Sakura nodded her head in understanding. It would be rough, but if she got Sasuke's attention, it would be worth it all. Naruto and Sasuke were walking through the city. Both boys had pity clearly written on their faces. The orphaned children played in the muck and the allies. Prostitutes stood on street corners, trying to do anything to earn money. The one place that seemed to get a lot of business was the local bar and pub. Most of the building were run down, empty, or already collapsed. Rough groups of men stood at the entrance to brothels, bars, and other buildings. They all glared at Naruto and Sasuke as they walked by. Dude, I knew they were poor, but this is ridiculous, Sasuke whispered to Naruto. I know, right? It makes me want to finish the bridge even more, Naruto said as he watched a small, little boy wearing rags, playing with a stick. Let's get this ball and get out of here. I don't like the look those guys are giving us, Sasuke said in a low voice. Naruto looked at a group of men in front of a brothel they were passing. It was a group of 5 men. 2 of them had scimitars, one of them had a katana, and the other 2 looked like they could kill with one punch. The men were looking at them menacingly. Naruto and Sasuke didn't blink as they glared back at the group, but they continued on looking for a store that sold rubber balls. They walked for 10 minutes until they came across a toy store. The duo walked inside, and the scurrying of the cashier could be heard. The man came from somewhere in the back of the store. When he saw the 2 boys, he cried out, "Please, I'll have the money tomorrow. Give me one more day, please," the man pleaded. Naruto looked at Sasuke with a raised eyebrow. "We're not here to collect any money. We need to buy a rubber ball," Sasuke said. The man looked like he didn't believe them at first, but when the prospect of actually making a sale dawned on him, his whole countenance changed. "Right this way," the man said in an excited voice. After they had picked out a small rubber ball, the cashier led them back to the cash register to ring them up. "That'll be 3 Rio," the man said. The boys looked at him in shock. "That's it. Only 3 Rio?" The man nodded his head, but Naruto wasn't having any of that. "We'll give you 10 Rio. It's not like we need the money anyway." The man looked at them and started thanking them profusely. Sasuke told the man how rich he and Naruto were, and that it was an honor helping out the city. The 2 boys told him about their mission, but they didn't tell him where they stayed. Unknown to the 2 boys, the rough group of men were standing outside. Their collective eyes lit up at the mention of all the money the 2 teens claimed to have. "Hey boss, if we waste those 2 boys and take their money, we could leave this godforsaken city and not have to work for Gato anymore," one of the men said. A man who was easily over 6.5 feet tall nodded in response, then spoke in a deep voice. "I haven't seen them around town, so they must be staying on the outskirts. As soon as they exit downtown, we'll kill them." The 2 boys exited the store and started walking down the street on the way back to the house. "So how was your spar with Riku?" Sasuke asked. "I beat her, but I had to carry her back to the house because she hurt her ankle," Naruto said. "Ah," Sasuke laughed. "You actually carried her. I bet she was happy." "Yeah, well, I beat her, and you know how competitive she is. She admitted I beat her rather quickly when I was carrying her." "You know, I wouldn't be surprised if she had that planned out," Sasuke mused aloud. "I know, right? Girls are such a pain," Naruto complained. Sasuke nodded his head in agreement. The 2 boys continued their conversation, oblivious to the fact that they were being followed. As soon as the 2 boys exited downtown, the men attacked. The 2 men with scimitars rushed at them, while the leader of the group, another man, and the man with the katana held back. The boys' acute hearing alerted them to the charging thugs, and they turned to see the 2 men with the swords charging them. Thinking quick, Sasuke drew out a shuriken and kunai. He threw the shuriken at the man that was charging him and rushed in with the kunai while the shuriken was still in the air. The thug blocked the shuriken and engaged Sasuke in battle. It wasn't much of a contest. The man wasn't a ninja. Sasuke charged at him and jumped over him. The man swung his sword, trying to cut Sasuke while he was in the air. Sasuke narrowly avoided. He sent his way, and when he landed behind the thug, he cut the man's right Achilles tendon before he could turn around. "Damn it," the man yelled as he turned around, but Sasuke was too quick, and he rolled underneath the man and gave him a chop to the back of the neck, knocking him unconscious. Naruto also didn't have much difficulty with his target. He waited for the thug to approach him, then he struck out. The thug tried to cleave Naruto in half with a horizontal slash. Naruto merrily jumped over the blade and kicked the man in his head with his left foot. The kick dazed a man for a split second, and that was all that Naruto needed. When he landed from his jump, Naruto gave the man 2 right hooks and 3 left jabs before the man could blink. The leader of the thieves watched as the first 2 thugs were dispatched easily. That was when he decided to overwhelm the 2 boys. The man with the katana and the bare-fisted delinquents rushed Naruto and Sasuke. After he dispatched his opponent, Naruto and Sasuke simultaneously looked at the incoming trio, 3 against 1, time to even the odds. Naruto went through his favorite hand signs, and when he was done, 3 identical clones stood ready to fight. Sasuke also went through the hand signs, but he only created 1 clone. The incoming trio actually used a good formation, but this was disrupted when Saju yelled out, "Katan, Fireball Jutsu,"